Hughes, let's take a look at our top story. Happens to be our top national story this hour from ABC News. Whit Johnson from ABC is at the UNLV campus this morning and takes a look at the latest information there.
This horrific scene playing out just a week before final exams here at UNLV. Students were looking forward to heading home for the holidays, but now so many overwhelmed with shock and grief. Another school campus in America targeted by a mass killer.
The shooting suspect identified as a 67-year-old professor who had been denied the opportunity for a job that was available there at UNLV. Israel's consul general sat down with the state leaders for the first time this week, and he tells KSL-TV that Utah and Israel have a lot in common.
Our beliefs in the Bible and the people who believes here also in the Bible, it's give a lot of companionship.
Consul Israel Bahar says there's room for the economic relationship to blossom too.
Utah is experiencing a boom in its economy, and we need to tap into these opportunities between the Israeli market and the Utah market.
Bahar says Israel can offer Utah creativity, a booming science industry, and a strong spirit of entrepreneurialism. He says he'll be back soon. And as we have told you this past half hour, former BYU football coach Bronco Mendenhall is leaving his Montana ranch to coach football again. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has the story.
Mendenhall's leaving the fishing and horseback riding to lead the New Mexico Lobos, where he was once a defensive coordinator. The school's athletic director says it's been searching for a coach who can not only get wins, but also lead men. It gets both in Mendenhall, who won 70% of the BYU games he coached and prioritized helping his players become better people.
Definitely good news for the Lobos, who just came off a 4-8 season. Your money at this moment, everything in the green. The Dow is up 51 now. That's a little more than 0.1%. The S&P is up 0.7 or 32 points, and the Nasdaq up 1 full percentage point, 155 to the plus side. Coming up on KSL, sunny skies today before snow comes tomorrow. We'll check your full forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
Ho, ho, ho! This is Danta Claus from PC Laptops. Would you like to save massive money this holiday season, but don't want to have an anxiety attack fighting crowds? Don't throw out that old computer. We can transform that old computer into high-speed goodness, no matter what brand it is. Just bring in your computer for a free diagnostic and cleaning. We're so awesome at making computers faster that if we can't fix or upgrade your computer, we'll buy it from you. We have brand new lifetime warranty desktop computers starting at only $29 a month. Plus, we'll transfer all your data, your pictures, your documents to your new PC Laptops computer at absolutely no charge, 100% free. To make it impossible to resist, we're doing zero interest on any PC Laptops computer until 2025. That's a long time for zero interest. OAC, just check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com, where we love you.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and I am here to talk to the people who are concerned that there's somebody on your gift-giving list that is just so hard to buy for. Well, I have the perfect solution, and it's the gift of theater from Hale Center Theater. And all you have to do, this is easy shopping, go to hct.org. Maybe you could pick up tickets for Elf, or maybe A Christmas Carol, or maybe you want to get season tickets for that special person for an amazing array of entertainment next year. Clue, Fiddler on the Roof, The Time Machine, The Nutty Professor, The Addams Family, The Magician's Elephant, and Disney's Beauty and the Beast. That's an all-time favorite at Hale Center Theater. And gift cards are also the perfect gift-giving idea. It's time to go online, Hale Center Theater, hct.org. You can do all your Christmas shopping with the gift of theater.
Get your photos with Santa this holiday season. Jordan Landing Shopping Center, located in the Entertainment Plaza across from Cinemark. Check jordanlanding.com for Santa schedule and photo pricing.
Hi, I'm Celeste Edmonds, Executive Director of the Christmas Box House. When I was a foster child, Christmas felt like something that was for everyone but me. Christmas should be for all children. The Christmas Box is working with the Utah community to provide Christmas for nearly 2,800 at-risk children. To learn how you can help today, please contact us at thechristmasbox.org or Google us. Thank you and happy holidays.
This is Richard Paul Evans. I'm excited to announce a new book I co-wrote with Celeste Edmonds, director of the Christmas Box International. It's called Garbage Bag Girl. Years ago, I wrote a best-selling book called Finding Noelle based on Celeste's life. I always wanted to write her full story. Now I have. Warning, there are graphic parts. Her life was difficult, but ultimately, this book is about hope. I love this book. You can buy Garbage Bag Girl on Amazon. Garbage Bag Girl, now on sale.
Time for a look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Len, what's it looking like?
Well, UDOT's reporting that Logan Canyon is closed in both directions now due to winter. Ramp from the airport to go northbound on I-15, just south of 600 north exit on I-15. They've cleaned that up and traffic is rolling through here at a pretty good pace now. Crash southbound I-15 at 123rd South, still taking a right lane, still some slowing through Midvale. And northbound, you've got some slowing as you make your way towards South Salt Lake. And another crash southbound I-15 114th on the right shoulder. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, kind of the last day for slightly warmer temperatures and sunnier skies before temperatures drop significantly tomorrow in the 30s. Matter of fact, 5 of the next 6 days won't even make it to the 40s. We're also expecting snow for tomorrow morning, so keep that in mind when you start your day tomorrow with Utah's Morning News. Right now, 46 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I'm just reading this, Dave, on the New York Times website that the House has just censured that Representative Jamal Bowman of New York. Remember when he yanked the fire alarm in the Capitol building earlier this year?
Oh, yeah.
He was charged with a misdemeanor. Weren't they all racing to a vote to save the federal government from shutting down?
I'm trying to remember what the vote was.
I think that's what it was. And he yanked the fire alarm. He was charged with a misdemeanor for that, but also the House was like, yeah, we're not dealing with that. They just censured him. What is that, like a letter in his file or something?
That's exactly what it is. But it's an official letter in the file. It's not just a wrist slap. It is, I want everyone to know that this wrist has officially been slapped.
Of all the things to be censured for, that would be embarrassing.
Debbie, can you imagine? You and I are running in. We're a little late to the show. We're about to hit the deadline. It's like the music is playing, and you pull the fire alarm as an excuse to be like, well, I wasn't late. The fire alarm was going off. Yeah, everyone else would be fired for this kind of stuff, but he gets an official reprimand. There you go. It's 9:08. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Hey, look, we've been going big all week long on Utah's housing market. We're hearing lots of good things from a lot of you that you want to hear more. And we've got more today in the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to deliver on your ask. We are going to go in depth on the best places to build from a construction standpoint. Like, do you want to really try to sink a sewer line in the middle of the West Desert? Probably not. Or go find some sort of water out in the middle of nowhere by the tree on the way to Wendover? No. So we're going to go in depth on the best places to build in light of Utah's continued growth.
Well, I've always thought you just got to spread out. You literally do. You say the West Desert in jest. I thought that's probably where we're going to end up. But the experts have looked at it, and they've broken down the numbers. It's not the West Desert. You can take a big, deep breath.
That's West Jordan.
It's a lot closer to home. Yeah, West Jordan. There we go. Now, West Valley, West something, West this, West that. Are there any East anythings?
Countdown to...
United States Senator Mitt Romney said it, and he wasn't happy about it. He had left a meeting about funding for Ukraine and ongoing funding for Israel. Well, and now it appears the full Senate is making good on a promise to stop U.S. funding to those countries to fight their wars unless our southern border is secured. We're going to get a live report from Washington, D.C. in about 25 minutes on the latest maneuver on Capitol Hill.
Because the question is not, does Ukraine need the money? We agree Ukraine needs the money, and it's in America's interest to get the money to help Ukraine. And unless they're willing to shut down the 10,000 a day being released into the country, they're not going to get a deal done.
It's pretty simple. And we do this all of the time. This is every marriage I've ever known. Hey, I want an Xbox. Well, I want a trip to St. George. You can't have one without the other. It's a negotiation. You can't just give the one person everything they want. It is a marriage. It's a terrible and dysfunctional marriage in Congress, no question, but a marriage nonetheless.
Launch countdown 1.
The battle for second place was a doozy. The debate on News Nation, the primary debate, it was another circus down with 4 participating. The ringleader noticeably absent last night. Christie, DeSantis, Ramaswamy, Haley. Things got messy, but doesn't really matter.
I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country. And you have other candidates up here like Nikki Haley. She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her.
Anytime your opponents are using your name, you're winning. It's very simple math. If they use your name, you are winning. Go ahead and take your victory lap, Nikki Haley.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
America's top political story. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
It was a bit of a circus last night, but I can't help it. There's some good, juicy stuff that came out of the battle for second place. And since they are all vying for the silver medal, because we know former President Donald Trump is way ahead in the polls when it comes to the polling for the Republican primary, I just cannot help, Dave, but look and watch and listen to what went on last night.
The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals.
Things got messy, but does it matter?
It doesn't matter. I know this is really weird and really frustrating because we've talked ad nauseum about these debates and these candidates, but until somebody can upend or unseat Donald Trump, none of this matters. None of it matters. And it's just not close enough right now.
The Target of the Night award, though, goes to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Polls show that in a head-to-head with Joe Biden, Haley would win. The problem is she's got to get past former President Donald Trump to do that. She held her own, though, last night, partly because she didn't cave into Ramaswamy's swipes.
We're people of service. My husband is in the military, and I served our country as UN ambassador and governor. It may be bankrupt to him, but it certainly wasn't bankrupt to us.
She took the high road mostly last night.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that in a head-to-head, that Nikki Haley beats Joe Biden. I also have no doubt that Debbie Dujanovic in a head-to-head would beat Joe Biden, or Dave Noriega, or Don Brinkerhoff.
You stop at Debbie Dujanovic.
Anybody that runs against Joe Biden will beat Joe Biden in a head-to-head, except Donald Trump.
If you missed the debate last night, it was a good one. It was a good one, taking swipes at each other, Republicans eating their own. Best sidestep of the night as we give out awards, DeSantis, avoiding talk of Trump, mostly, and really he did focus on Nikki Haley.
We need to build a wall across the southern border. I'll get it done, and Mexico is supposed to pay for it. Remember, here's how you do that. I am going to have fees on remittances from foreign workers when they send the money back to foreign countries. We're going to tax it, and we're going to build a wall with that.
A little tiny dig at Trump, but not a big one from DeSantis.
No, because there's no win. There's no win in attacking the former president because he has such a strong base. A lot of Republicans still like them. So if you alienate him, you've lost a huge portion of the voting base. You just can't. But at the same time, if you're not attacking Trump, then you're clearly not interested in winning. Because the only way to win is to beat Trump. And the fact that all of these candidates are tiptoeing around, not criticizing strongly Trump, then they're clearly playing for second place. They want to be the vice presidential nominee, I guess, because until they take him on head on, they have no chance. It makes no sense what they're doing right now.
I think the best defense of the night came from former prosecutor, wannabe president Chris Christie, and he wasn't defending himself.
We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence.
Wait until you hear the rest of that in 3 minutes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio. Was this on your list for 2024?
Mike Lee could be on the short list if they head up the Justice Department.
Mike Lee as AG. And that would mean another Utah Senate race. Or not. The plot thickens for your voice and your vote 2024 on KSL News Radio.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
For the last 27 years, we've been honored to serve our community as the highest rated home medical supplier in Utah. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. Our commitment to exceptional customer service is at the heart of everything we do, and our team is always here to make sure you get the care and products you need. Whether it's oxygen solutions, CPAP supplies, or expert home safety advice, we do it all. As a Best in State winner for the last 14 years and highest rated on Google, Alpine Home Medical is not just a provider, we're a trusted partner in your healthcare journey. So swing by any of our 11 locations today and experience firsthand what makes Alpine Home Medical a 5-star experience. See us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and of course, by now, everyone knows that NPS is a nice place to save each and every day 30 to 70% off the finest brand new merchandise. But then again, you never quite know what you're going to find at NPS. That's just part of the fun, part of the adventure. Now remember, the prices, special deals I'm going to tell you about, this is on top of the already tremendous savings of 30 to 70% off. How about 30% off big screen TVs right now? 50% off bedding and linens. How about 20% off high-end jewelry in collectibles? 30% off shoes. I love this. Designer sunglasses, 50% off. And don't forget, that's on top of the already discounted prices, 30 to 70%. It's happening right now. NPS, nice place to shop, located in Layton, in Orem, and 2 stores in Salt Lake City.
It's the question that's been on everybody's mind, and it's about to be answered. When will Gillette Heating and Air offer plumbing services?
You want to go?
Yeah! The answer is now. To celebrate, Gillette is offering a free tankless water heater when you buy a high-efficiency heating and cooling system. For a limited time while supplies last, call Gillette today for heating, AC, and now plumbing. Call 385-GET-HEAT.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
A holiday message from Jackson Hewitt.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to get money the same day.
Starting December 11th, walk into a Jackson Hewitt for an early loan on your tax refund, and you could walk out with up to $1,000.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to get money. Missing out would be cray.
Appointments go fast. Book yours now at JacksonHewitt.com. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at JacksonHewitt.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the UNLV shooter has been identified as a 67-year-old professor who had previously tried to get a job at the school. Second, we've heard from Layton Christian Academy students who helped lift a car off a mother and her 2 children earlier this week. And third, the Utah Jazz will have to regroup. Bit of an understatement after a 50-point loss to the Dallas Mavericks last night. We're going to shoot for a high and may have already been there of 47 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City it's 46. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
News Nation hosting the final debate of 2023, heading into a big election year, and just, about a month away from the Iowa caucus, where we'll get a better reading of the pulse of voters on how they feel about the Republican primary. I felt like last night, of all the things that were said, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie standing up for Nikki Haley in the face of the onslaught of insults that Vivek Ramaswamy kept flinging at her and has been for quite some time. I thought this was the best defense of the night.
We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence. She doesn't know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-old could find. Look, if you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in the Republican primary. And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman. You should stop insulting her.
One of the things that felt a little weird to me about this was Nikki Haley doesn't need Chris Christie to rescue her. She has done a phenomenal job. Every time she gets attacked or every time she gets referenced, she does an amazing job of knocking it right back at him.
But isn't it nice sometimes when the people you're sharing a stage with or you're sharing an office with do stand up for you?
Okay,
you take enough insults day after day after day from the same dude. It's nice to have somebody say, hey, knock it off. And also focus on her policies.
Totally
and
agree.
her positions. And stop making her sound like she's just flat dumb. Because she's not. So when you're poking at somebody for things that absolutely don't apply, you're just doing it to be a horrible person.
Well, you're fighting. You're fighting for your political life. You're competing. You're not supposed to walk around as best friends holding hands. This is not whatever the 11th commandment of Ronald Reagan, do no harm to other Republicans, right? This is not the way it is anymore. You attack somebody, and they either wilt or they fight back.
In a moment, we're going to take a look at how Haley is doing in the polls. But Ramaswamy is flat out lying about her.
After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing, whose back you scratched for a very long time, and then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is, and now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt.
How is she corrupt for serving for, I think, under a year on Boeing's board? Well, that's not corruption.
Okay, you say it's not corruption, but here are people, and this has been a thing, an issue that I think a lot of Americans have with politicians. They serve in very powerful ways, and then they end up on very powerful boards, right? That pay a lot of money and have a lot of prestige. So
is that corruption?
No,
that corruption is a
it's
legal
swampy.
term.
It's swampy. If you want to talk about draining the swamp, that is the very definition of the swamp.
So Ramaswamy has a point?
I think he has a point. I think, and it's not just a Nikki Haley thing. Everyone does it. This is the way Washington works. As soon as you step out of your political office, then you get a high-end consulting job. You end up on a board somewhere. They have influence. They have power, and they will wield it in their second career. Everyone does it, but it is swampy.
Ron DeSantis, a governor of Florida, who's been hitting the campaign trail longer than anybody we know, he's losing ground to Haley, and he's been losing ground to Haley. She's on the upswing. That's why she was, quite frankly, it was predicted and it happened that she was taking the shots last night. But I was at this point, DeSantis still has the silver medal. He's second behind former President Trump.
We beat the teachers' unions when we did school choice. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat George Soros when we removed 2 of his radical district attorneys. We beat the Democrats on election integrity.
And like him or not, he took advantage of a moment to get his record in as governor.
DeSantis is doing better than I think we expected. He has had this steady decline. But I think it speaks as much to Trump's ascendancy than DeSantis. Trump is just leading the polls. Debbie, I'm looking at this 538 poll, the poll of polls.
Where they combine all of the results of different polls? Is that the one you're
looking
at?
Yeah, and there's a million different polls. But Trump has 60% of the vote.
Really?
DeSantis is next at 13. Haley is at about 11. But Trump leads by 40. 50, 60, even 70 points in the polls across the country. I mean, he's blowing everybody out of the water. He hasn't participated in one debate, and he hasn't been punished one iota.
Can you go back to the DeSantis and Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley part of that poll?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chart. So what does it show him doing over the last several months, and what does it show her poll results doing?
It basically goes back to the beginning of the year when DeSantis is coming off that huge victory as governor. He had really high marks. He was in the mid-30s, maybe even low 40s, and he has slowly and steadily gone down to where he's at right now, about 13%. Haley started at 2%, and she's gone up to 10 or 11% in the same time. So they're going in the opposite directions. They've about met in the same spot, but then there's 50 or 60 points difference between them and Trump.
So a lot will depend on what happens in Iowa in January, because that is really going to be our first big test of how these candidates who are still in the race are doing. But Chris Christie, he makes no bones about it.
I'm in this race because the truth needs to be spoken. He is unfit. This
Speaking
is a
of
guy who
Trump.
just said this past week that he wants to use the Department of Justice to go after his enemies when he gets in there.
If Trump does not do well in Iowa, Dave, I'm playing what if here. If he does not do well in Iowa, you think that'll set the stage for a much different campaign in 2024?
Yes, you'd have to see though a huge change. And the problem is you've got Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Vivek, and then Chris Christie all splitting the votes. If you took every single one of their votes and combined them together, okay, now you're looking at about maybe 25% of the vote. The problem is they keep splitting each other's vote, drawing away from Trump, and until they unify around one person, there's no chance.
I want to be cautious about leaning into polls. You and I have done a lot of leaning into polls in the last several years, and come into work the day after an election quite surprised at the results, that the polls said one thing and the voters said another. Straight ahead, we're going to go live to Washington, D.C., where ABC News is standing by. President Biden hoping that Congress follows through with some funding for Ukraine and Israel. But like Senator Romney, other senators, other on Capitol Hill saying, no, we're not going to do that until you secure the southern border. And the president is not happy about this.
Frankly, I think it's stunning that we've gotten to this point in the first place. While Congress, Republicans in Congress are willing to give Putin the greatest gift he could hope for and abandon our global leadership.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's look at some of our top stories this half hour. And it is our top national story. Students at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas are sharing their experience after yesterday's shooting. First-year UNLV student Braden McDermott says he was at what he called ground zero.
All of us just heard somebody scream, like, gun, like there's a gun.
3 faculty were killed, another person injured, but they're in stable condition. We will continue to monitor this story for any additional details. Republican Utah Congressman Blake Moore says his party needs to stop quibbling and put out a budget because funding for national security sites like Hill Air Force Base are up in the air right now. He is at a budget committee meeting, or was at a committee meeting last month.
We haven't had a chance to vote on it yet. The members on the lower part of the dais, we all want to fix this. We all want to be a part of the solution here, right? We need a catalyst to get it so it comes to the floor.
Moore tells the Deseret News it will take Republicans sending something to the Senate ASAP, but he adds he's hopeful the country will have a budget in time for the next deadline. That happens next month. The West Davis Highway is set to open earlier than expected. UDOT spokesman Mitch Shaw tells us it begins at the Legacy Parkway interchange and will be a much welcomed alternate driving through Davis County.
It's another highway for people to use and takes traffic off of I-15. Obviously, that's the road that people use to commute.
Mitch says it will open January 6th at 11:30 a.m. and will include a way to walk a stretch of the new West Davis Highway, also known as Highway 177. Your money at this moment, markets are still mixed. The Dow can't decide whether it's going to be in the green or red today, but right now it's down by about 4 points. The S&P is up 26. That's closing in on 0.6%. And the NASDAQ is up 144, or 1 full percentage point. Coming up, we can expect some snow showers tomorrow. Looks like it'll actually start around midnight tonight in the form of rain, but we'll check the forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Are you ready to just take charge of your physical health and well-being? Now's the perfect time to do it, and the best way to do it is with SOTA Weight Loss. SOTA stands for state-of-the-art weight loss because it is. It's state-of-the-art. It'll help you deal with all of the challenges that normally go unaddressed when it deals with weight loss. You're going to have your own coach and nutritionist that are going to help you tackle the mental, emotional habits, the behaviors associated that will allow you to let that excess weight go. The pounds and inches fall off. It's amazing. I lost 37 pounds in just 90 days, and now it's been almost 2 full years. I am still 37 pounds down. I've never felt better, all through SOTA Weight Loss. And I'm not the only one. There's thousands of people across the country with similar results. It puts you in charge and you in control of what your body needs, how you get it, and how you can really thrive. Do it with SOTA Weight Loss, as I always say, when it comes to your SOTA Weight Loss journey. There's no time to lose, only time to win, so start winning today. Check it out at sotaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Car trouble? Go to Amco Transmissions for all your total car care needs. From check engine lights to funny smells, they've got you covered. They offer free towing around each of their 9 locally owned Utah Amco locations. Let Amco help you get back on the road.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule it. 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Len Thomas is in the traffic center.
Well, Tim, in the Salt Lake Valley, 3 crashes, all southbound. One at 90th South, another 114th South, the other 123rd South. These are all southbound on the right shoulder. However, the traffic flow is getting by this nicely, and not really any I-15 delays in Salt Lake Valley, Utah County, or Davis County. Where there is a little bit of slowing is up there at the I-80 ramp from the West Belt on the north end of things. And in Cache County, crashes close both directions of US 89. That's up at the mouth of Logan Canyon. Peterson Art Center. Give the gift of creativity with a gift certificate good for any art or pottery class. It's the perfect gift for spouses, kids, friends, and seniors. The Peterson Art Center in Sugar House. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, we're going to see a high of 47. Now, technically, and I don't know if this is going to be officially the temperature, we reached 48 at about 5:30 this morning. Things are going to switch up a bit tomorrow, but we can expect some snow showers and pretty significant temperatures that'll drop into the 30s and stay there for the foreseeable future. Snow starting overnight, so keep that in mind for your drive tomorrow. Right now, 46 in Salt Lake City at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, it seems that the Capitol Hill back in D.C., the Senate, is making good on a promise to block funding to Ukraine and Israel. Now, remember, Senator Mitt Romney said this out loud, that, we got to get the southern border secured in exchange for funding.
Because the question is not, does Ukraine need the money? We agree Ukraine needs the money, and it's in America's interest to get the money to help Ukraine. And unless they're willing to shut down the 10,000 a day being released into the country, they're not going to get a deal done.
It's clearly not a money thing, right? I mean, funding whatever it is to build a wall, border agents, whatever it might be. It's a fraction of the cost of what we're looking to send to Ukraine. So I think it's somewhere in the $100 billion range of the money to send to Ukraine. And maybe it's $10 billion for the southern border. It's a tenth. So it's clearly not a money thing. It's a philosophical thing, because they could throw in an extra $10 billion for border security, no problem. So there is a philosophical reason why the Democrats are not giving in to the demands of the Republicans.
And here's what President Biden said about it.
Congress needs to pass supplemental funding for Ukraine before they break for the holiday resources. As simple as that.
Justin Fitch, ABC News correspondent in Washington, D.C., bring us up to date on the latest maneuvers back in Congress on this, and then what it looks like before Congress gets to their holiday break.
Sure thing. Just as we are coming on the air here, we're getting reports from the Senate floor. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is really pressing Republicans, including his counterpart Mitch McConnell, to take action quickly. Schumer saying the only path forward is for the GOP to draft an amendment on the border that they can attach to the Ukraine funding as a supplemental, or they have to completely restart negotiations. Not good news, as we are just about a week away before the Senate breaks for the holiday season. Schumer is demanding Republicans show they are serious about reaching a compromise and not just throwing what he calls Donald Trump's border policies on the floor. But across the aisle, Leader McConnell saying that he is well aware of what's at stake for Ukraine as well as for Americans at the border, and that the GOP is working behind the scenes to craft something amenable that he believes Democrats can get behind and support as well. But the real issue here is the clock. And as you mentioned off the top, there's sort of back and forth over what a border policy will look like at this time that will satisfy both sides. The president saying yesterday that he has put in contingencies for the border, immigration, judges, security efforts as well, but it's not enough to persuade Republicans, and he has accused them of playing chicken and warning not just Republicans but Democrats too, who he believes are not moving fast enough here, that it's only a matter of time before the money that he has in drawdown authority to supply weapons and aid could expire. If within that window of time or thereafter shortly, Russia advances into Ukraine and goes farther to the west, that we could see a NATO ally get caught in the middle, and then the U.S. would have to deploy troops into that region as part of our NATO agreement.
Have Democrats indicated how much money or how long this expected money would last and how long it would fund the war?
In this supplemental funding, they haven't given a real timeline here. We know that this is just something to kind of tide them over through the winter for Ukraine specifically. So this, they believe, will be enough. By some rough math calculations here, we saw a $175 million military aid package get announced for Ukraine just yesterday. This, again, is in drawdown supply, things that could go to waste or worse if not used quickly. But within that fund, between money and available weapons, the estimate is about $5 billion or so left. When you think about how much has gone out over the past year plus, $5 billion is not really a whole lot here. So that money, in addition to the tens of billions being asked for in this package, could be enough to give Ukraine the edge they need to kind of stave off any further aggression from Russia. But the warning also here, too, is that Russia is seeing support from North Korea and potentially Iran in this fight as well.
Justin Finch, ABC News. Thank you so much. We know you and all of our colleagues back at ABC News there in D.C. will keep us posted here at KSL News Radio. Appreciate the update on what is happening back in the nation's capital regarding funding for Ukraine, funding for Israel, and the conflict there with the southern border.
Vladimir Putin must just be sitting back and thinking, I'm so smart, because he knew that support for this coming from the Americans, that support would wane eventually. We would move on to the next thing.
We would get weary.
We would get weary of it. And in all honesty, you and I cover this all the time. We read everything about it. We have no idea what the plan is. I have no idea how much money. Is it just an endless faucet of money being supplied to Ukraine? Is there any proof of performance? Like, I have no idea how long we are going to be supporting this fight. So if I can't wrap my brain around it, then they need to communicate. I'm speaking to whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. You've got to have a plan. You've got to sell it to us. Are we just going to be in a 10-year war between Ukraine and Russia?
You mean funding it?
Yeah. Are we going to just fund it the entire time? What are the goals? What's the exit strategy?
Well, we had no idea this was going to go on as long as it has.
Yeah, we thought they would lose.
Yeah,
we thought they would lose.
We literally reported it would be by like Saturday after Russia started launching its attack that they would take over the capital, and that would be it. And Ukraine continues to fight. We will continue to keep an eye on the developments back there to find out what happens, and if Republicans do indeed get their wish that they want more funding, more security at the southern border in exchange for the nod to continue to fund, send money to Ukraine to help in its war against Russia. Straight ahead, students and faculty at UNLV in Las Vegas, they're absolutely recounting the panic, the terror that transpired late yesterday on campus. A gunman opened fire yesterday, killed 3 people, critically injured another.
All of us just heard somebody scream like, gun, like there's a gun.
We have much more information now on the shooter, and we're going to give you that in about 4 minutes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We know Utah relies on KSL for balance and fair treatment.
We provide news and analysis from all sides.
Utah's Morning News from 5 to 9.
Dave and Debbie, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
For years, I've been using my Connecticut water softener system in ways that I guess don't even totally register. It's been so fantastic. But let me tell you, Utah has some of the hardest water in the entire country, and it's why soft water systems are so popular. It seems like every single house has one. Well, Connecticut designed one that is reliable, it's mechanical, and it just works 24/7. A lot of soft water systems, the older ones, actually can run out in the morning. If you have a busy morning of showers and laundry and dishes, then you'll run out of soft water and you have to wait till it recharges. It typically happens at 2 o'clock in the morning until you can get that soft water back. The way Connecticut's soft water system is designed is it provides 24/7 soft water. You never run out. Doesn't matter how many loads of laundry that you do, you reap the benefits of having soft water in your house. So if you're interested, give Connecticut of Utah a call at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or you can check them out online and educate yourself and learn a little bit more about what soft water means to you and your family. Go to softwaterutah.com.
This just in, Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America have extended our biggest Black Friday sale ever. If you're looking for a hot tub or a swim spa, now's the time to buy. You can still take advantage of this incredible offer. Most retail establishments offer one item at a very low price just to get you in the door, and then everything else is at a higher price. But not us. Every single hot tub and swim spa on our showroom floor is marked at an incredible 30% off MSRP. Yep, you heard right. 30% off MSRP on every single hot tub and swim spa. Both locations have 15 to 20 hot tubs and swim spas to choose from. We'll remove your old hot tub for free, and we even offer financing through Mountain America. Come visit Hot Tub Factory Outlet next to Cowabunga Bay and Backyards of America in Sandy off of 90th South to take advantage of this incredible 30% off MSRP.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've got to tell you about the shopping experience that Dee and I had the other day at the Western Nut Company. First of all, when you walk into, I like to call it the mothership, the store right there where all of the magic happens at 434 South on 3rd West. You walk through the door and the smell of the nuts that are being roasted right there in the back area and the decor, it is just a holiday experience. And the great selection from Paul's Brittles to traditional Western Nut gift boxes that are all pre-wrapped, ready to go, to even the beautiful decorations. And they're playing an old music box that just puts you in the mood for gift giving this holiday season. And be sure to pick up some treats for yourself. And by the way, Dee and I always mail things back to Dee's relatives in Missouri. They do the mailing right there. Look for the kiosks that are going to be popping up all over the place. You can also go online at westernnut.com. You're going to love it.
Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning is offering furnace maintenance for 30% off. Call 385-GET-HEAT today to take advantage of this limited time offer. Carrier, turn to the experts.
You know, people can tell you that you're special, but Hercules Credit Union puts words into action. Let Hercules Credit Union treat you extra special with this limited time special deal. Open a new checking account and Hercules Credit Union will upgrade you to a premier status checking account free of monthly fees. Also, receive $150 cash when you open a premier checking account with direct deposit and Visa debit card, and $100 more when you open any type of loan product or a Visa credit card within 30 days of account opening. Your account has ultimate identity theft protection, travel benefits and perks, cellular cellular care coverage, accidental damage, gas, and grocery gift cards. And yeah, there's a whole lot more. Start at HerculesCU.com and learn how to qualify for a free Premier checking account for a limited time, because you are special. HerculesCU.com. Hercules Credit Union, growing stronger together. All accounts insured to $250,000 by NCUA.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the U.S. military is grounding its entire fleet of Osprey aircraft after the deadly crash off the coast of Japan, which included a major from St. George. Second, former BYU coach Bronco Mendenhall coming out of semi-retirement from his Montana ranch and taking his talents to a New Mexico team. And third, the 2024 Sundance lineup has been announced with some pretty big names headed to Utah. Going to shoot for a high today of 47 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, it is 46 downtown. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
The top national story still developing this morning, just about six and a half hours south here of Salt Lake City, and at UNLV in Las Vegas, where an active shooter went to campus yesterday and opened fire.
You don't want to believe that that could be happening on your floor, on your hall, to people you know.
I've spent a lot of time on this campus, Deb. I've done a lot of work down in Las Vegas, and I've spent a lot of time on UNLV's campus. And of course, obviously, so terrifying, but the backstory about who this shooter was is so strange.
67 years old. They released his name. His name is Anthony Polito. I was reading up more information about him. It looks like he at least has an apartment or lives somewhat close to Las Vegas in Henderson, Nevada. It's been a while since I've been through Henderson, but it doesn't seem to me that it's that far outside of Las Vegas, right? I mean, it's like one or two towns over. And he was a career professor, not at UNLV, though. He'd worked in North Carolina. He'd worked in Georgia, had a PhD in philosophy, a master's in business administration from Duke. And this shooting went down yesterday at the business college at UNLV. My understanding is he'd applied for work at UNLV, I believe, as a professor, but they had declined to hire him.
Which happens all the time. We apply for jobs all the time that we don't get. So it's always so difficult to figure out the reasoning behind this, but yeah, this is something that happens all the time.
Now, the active shooter was stopped. However, he killed at least 3 people, critically injured another. I believe it's 3 people. Greg Skordas, our legal analyst, here at Broadcast House, live on the line with us. Greg, the shooter's dead. I mean, the 67-year-old wannabe UNLV professor shot dead, confronted by police in a hallway, I believe, at the business school yesterday. It did not shoot, my understanding is, any students, but did get rounds shot off at faculty and staff. So there's some reports out there that say perhaps this wasn't random. Maybe this was a get back for not getting hired. What happens now? Where does the investigation from your perch go?
Well, it's really interesting, Debbie, and you've been involved in these from your prior career, and you know how it goes. But the public and the school want there to be some retribution for this. And, of course, immediately that goes to the shooter. But in this case, the shooter's dead. And so there's no sort of sense of satisfaction. You can bet that the investigation will go much further now in terms of how he obtained the firearm, whether that was legal, whether it was not, how he obtained the ammunition for that. And whether or not he had posted anything on his social media or even spoken to people about his intentions, or that he was angry, or that he was upset about something. And the reason we inquire into all that is because of what I said at the beginning, which is someone may still be responsible for this. And the fact that the shooter is gone doesn't mean that the inquiry ends there. So if someone gave him a gun knowing he was upset, they could face some liability, both civil and potentially criminal. Or if someone knew that he posted something and said, I'm going to go to the university and hurt somebody, and they did nothing about it, there could be some repercussions there as well.
Greg, it's interesting to hear you describe this because we have seen this when a shooter, and this happens far too often that we've seen several times, so many times every year. But when a shooter survives, it seems like all the anger, frustration, outrage is focused at that individual, and it almost seems heliocentric, where it just revolves around this individual. But when they die in the shooting, then it seems like an outlet has to occur. Like there's so much anger and frustration that it just expands across so many other people and divisions and companies, then they get wrapped up into it versus keeping the focus on the shooter himself.
You're exactly right. And that's just human nature, Dave. And it's also a product of just how groups, schools, and others, law enforcement especially, deals with these. They can't just say, oh, well, he's dead, we're done, let's move on, we'll give you some counseling and take a couple days off. I mean, there's going to be an investigation that may take months and months to see whether and to what extent this could have been prevented. And if it's found at any time down the road that it could have been, that someone had some knowledge or provided something or did something that contributed to this, then the inquiry will not end simply with his death, but it will go further. And the victims are entitled to that. The victims' families are entitled to that. And the community at large is entitled to know that law enforcement isn't just going to say, okay, he's dead, let's move on and try to make sure this doesn't happen again. They're going to do things on the front end to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Speaking live right now to KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas about the shooting at UNLV. It happened yesterday. The suspect shot dead by police, 67 years old, had applied for work as a professor at UNLV, was denied that opportunity, but has worked as a professor in other states. In Georgia, that was one of the states he worked. I believe also North Carolina. 3 people dead and 1 person critically injured. Greg, I think Dave brought up an excellent point just a few minutes ago, and that is that so many people apply for jobs, they don't get them, and this is really, really difficult for law enforcement and maybe even the school to recognize that somebody who feels jilted by not getting a job, don't know for sure if that was his motive, but certainly the circumstances that we know now, it would seem that maybe that could possibly be part of the motive. It's just really hard to figure out who's going to be that one person that gets so upset they do something absolutely unthinkable.
Right, and with his background, Debbie, just the way you described him as having been a professor at other universities, having an MBA, a degree in an advanced degree in, I think you said,
business,
philosophy. Yeah. He's, he wouldn't have given the red flags that you would expect other people to, the people who have had post-traumatic stress disorder or the people that are upset at the government for this or that. I mean, being denied a job, certainly troublesome, but he's 67. He's worked before, and he's probably had a fairly good career. So, yeah, I don't know that there was much that could have or should have been done in this case to prevent it, because what we're hearing, at least on the outside so far, is that there were really not a lot of red flags up about this man, although that's going to be the focus of the investigation from this point forward.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us, KSL legal analyst.
Yeah, appreciate your insights, Greg. We will continue to follow this developing story, and you can learn more about it at kslnewsradio.com. Dave and I are going to go in depth in the 10 o'clock hour, significant portion of our hour dedicated to housing and growth. So let me tell you what's on the agenda. Straight ahead, we're going to talk about Utah doubling in size in terms of population in the next 25 years. So where are the best places, logically, financially, to build? Many of us may think, oh, sprawl. Let's start building in the West Desert. That may not be what's best. We're going to find out in the 10 o'clock hour.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Republican Utah Congressman Blake Moore says his party needs to stop quibbling and put out a budget because funding for national security sites like Hill Air Force Base are up in the air right now. He was at a budget committee meeting last month.
We haven't had a chance to vote on it yet. The members on the lower part of the dais, we all want to fix this. We all want to be a part of the solution here, right? We need a catalyst to get it so it comes to the floor.
Moore tells the Deseret News it'll take Republicans sending something to the Senate as soon as possible, but he adds he's hopeful the country will have a budget in time for the next deadline. Senator Mike Lee has introduced an act to defund and depart the United Nations. The Disengaging Entirely from the United Nations Debacle, or Defund Act, calls for the United States' complete withdrawal from the United Nations. Senator Lee says no more blank checks for the United Nations. Americans' dollars, he says, have been funneled into initiatives that fly in the face of our values. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 3 people were killed when a gunman opened fire on the campus of the University of Nevada at Las Vegas yesterday. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News the suspect who was killed in a shootout with campus police is 67-year-old Anthony Polito, who'd applied for a professorship at the college but wasn't hired. ABC's Whit Johnson has more.
This horrific scene playing out just a week before final exams here at UNLV. Students were looking forward to heading home for the holidays, but now so many overwhelmed with shock and grief. Another school campus in America targeted by a mass killer.
ABC's Whit Johnson. Coming up, right now, our money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 51 points on the day. The NASDAQ strongly up 177 points so far today. And our KSL weather, we're done with rain for now, but there's more coming. That's next. KSL News Time 10:02.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double-pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When you crash your car, you get it fixed.
computer crashes, you get a new one. But what will you do if you've been saving in a 401k or an IRA and the market crashes? If you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll be just fine. But if you're in or near retirement, you could be in trouble. Mike Stevens and his team at Capital Wealth Advisors are here to help. They can run a risk analysis to see if you're too heavily invested in the market. Don't let the ups and downs of Wall Street control you or your retirement dreams. Call 801-210-5500 today to schedule your risk analysis with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors. That's 801-210-5500. Crashes happen. Question is, are you ready? Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Len Thomas.
Well, Dan, 3 wrecks southbound I-15 on the south end of the Salt Lake Valley, all on the right shoulder, though. The traffic pace, however, moving along. A delay-free ride from Spanish Fork to the point of the mountain and over and on to downtown Salt Lake ramps in style. In Ogden, a fresh crash southbound I-15 on the right shoulder, no delays. In Cache County, a crash has both directions of US 89 closed at the mouth of Logan Canyon. Also in Bear Lake near Garden City, a crash has both directions of US 89 closed as well at 7th West. Use an alternative route in both of those areas. Get your photos with Santa at Jordan Landing Shopping Center this holiday season, located in the Entertainment Plaza across from Cinemark. Check out jordanlanding.com for hours and additional details. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're done with the rain for now, but we'll see snow showers starting late tonight into tomorrow morning. Valleys could see up to 2 inches with up to 16 inches in the northern mountains. Right now, 46 degrees, about half the sky covered with clouds. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I reported this morning for Utah's Morning News in the 8 o'clock hour with Tim and Amanda that Utah has gained almost another 60,000 residents just in 2023, Dave. So in the next 25 years, Utah expected to nearly double in size. So imagine that, another 2.5 million people or so moving into the state. Where's everybody going to live?
I have no idea where they're going to live. I don't say that like facetious. I literally, you look at the way we're designed here in Utah, we have a ginormous lake to the west and huge mountains to the east. You know, it's a very narrow corridor, relatively speaking, where people can live. So I'm not entirely certain. I started thinking, well, we did move out to Tooele. You know, as we kind of expanded out to there, the Tooele area grew. Do we just need to go further west or further east? Is that a possibility?
We know from our in-depth reporting this week, all week long, that the governor is planning or hoping to build another 35,000 starter homes in Utah to help with the shortage of starter homes, to get families and young adults into their first home. 35,000 homes over the next 5 years. It's a lofty goal, but we've got to get more supply into the housing market because prices are going up and up and up. There's not enough places for people to live. And quite frankly, mom and dad want their 20-something-year-olds out of the basement, and they want them to launch.
We want them out of the basement, but we want them to live near us. We have this weird thing, like, we want you out, but we want you close. But it's so expensive right now. The state of Utah commissioned Envision Utah to look into this and try to figure out some practical solutions of what it's going to look like, because I'm going to be honest, folks, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow when I heard Envision Utah tell us these are the solutions. Okay, Ari Fleischer joins us right now along with Ryan Beck. Both of you have spent so much time looking into this. So give us an idea. Just question number one, are our kids going to be living in the West Desert?
Well, I guess the first thing I'd say is we all want to wish the growth away, right? But there's no way to stop it, right? The growth happens because it's a great place to live. Our kids want to stay. Other people come join us, a lot of whom are actually coming back to the state, by the way. They're not necessarily strangers. And there's really no way to stop that growth other than let's ruin this place so no one wants to live here, right? And that's not what I want to do. So,
No.
And to the question of where people should live, I think it's a multi-pronged solution here. Number one, the more people we can accommodate within this narrow band on the Wasatch Front, where there's existing infrastructure, where maybe near a track station, for example, where people can walk and get on the train and not contribute to traffic and so forth. The more we can do that, the better. That's not going to accommodate everybody. We're going to have to expand outward as well.
So the idea of sprawl into places like that are wide open spaces, like what we see in the West Desert, is not the best solution, according to what you guys have been looking into?
Well, the farther out you go, the more people drive, right? And also the bigger the lot, the more water they use, and you have to build new infrastructure there. So I think the more we can accommodate it within our existing urban areas, the better. But we're not going to be able to accommodate it all there.
So there's got to be other ways. So Ari Fleischer with Envision Utah, also Ryan Beck as well with Envision Utah in studio with us as we continue to dive into growth and accommodating, the need for more houses. Ryan, how does that look then along the Wasatch Front in your view, or Envision Utah's view? Is it mean, more apartment complexes and townhomes, not as much lot space, building up as opposed to out?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We need more options for housing, especially for our younger generation. That means more townhomes, more condos, more apartments, and of course, more small lot, single-family homes. And when I say small lot, I'm talking 5,000 square feet or less. So a different product than what we've been building in the past. Traditionally we're building quarter acres, third of an acres. We've done a lot of that. But these 5,000 square foot lots will allow us to have a lot more housing product for this next generation.
So if you're saying a 5,000 square foot lot, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and I've got 2,500 square foot house. Does that even work? Do I get a driveway at that point?
You got to build up.
Well, with some creative design work, you actually can have a driveway, and even some houses have a 3-car garage still. So there's still opportunity. I mean, we have to. But what's interesting about your question to me is a lot of times this is just not legal because of the setbacks, the front setbacks that we have, or the side setbacks, or the rear. So it's just not possible to build those under our current regulations and zoning.
So how do you tackle that specifically? If it's illegal, then you've got to change is it state law, or is it just local city ordinances and law?
At this point, the cities control the land use, and so you've got to work city by city to look at their zoning and their housing regulations to make sure that they can build this product that Utahns want.
Ari, a lot of cities have tried this, and a lot of cities get backlash from their current residents who were there first. We affectionately refer to that as NIMBY, not in my backyard. Cities are going to have to figure out a way to get past that, and residents are probably going to have to figure out a way to accept it.
Yeah, I get that people don't like change, right? I love it how it is, or even how it was, right? And so I understand that. We've surveyed Utahns though, and around 60% are on board with doing something a little different. They get that we're going to need smaller lots and more townhomes and things like that. What we find that's interesting though is the people who are most in favor of this tend to be younger people and renters. The people who are in the housing market looking for a home. And those are the people who tend not to engage so much in city council meetings or in elections for city council members and so forth. And so I think sometimes our city officials are hearing only from one slice of the residents. And so they're getting a skewed picture of what people want.
Well, obviously, if you're having the city council meeting and you're taking public comment, nobody's showing up in homes they haven't purchased yet. If they're discussing high-density housing that's going to bring in an extra 1,000 people, nobody is representing them. So who could represent them? Because I know so often when city councils or mayors, or they push for these kind of things, they get voted out the next year because they pay a price when they approve these high-density housing projects. So who speaks to the new housing?
Yeah, well, I think I'll let Ryan weigh in on this too, but I think one key is, as a city, is finding ways to hear from more than just the usual suspects. You think about a city council meeting, there's a lot of barriers to participation there. You have to show up at a certain time. You have to be comfortable speaking in a really formal setting in front of intimidating people. So finding other ways to get input from the community, and maybe from the people who aren't energized enough to get to the city council meeting. The people who are energized are going to be the people who are upset and angry, right? They're not going to be the ones saying, yeah, I'm okay with that.
We're speaking to Ari Fleischer and Ryan Beck of Envision Utah about the future of the housing market here in Utah and what things are going to look like. And we're talking about building more homes and using less lot size to do that, to accommodate the growth, phenomenal growth we're seeing this year alone, 56,000 residents additional here in Utah, just in 2023. In a few minutes, I want to ask you about Utahns' appetite to build smaller homes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're expanding Dave and Dujanovic on KSL.
Now they'll be live on Fridays.
Starting in January, hear Dave and Debbie at 9 and the movie show at 11.
Finally, Friday on KSL News Radio.
As the year winds down, the storylines are ramping up.
Salt Lake City is the preferred host.
Homelessness in Utah has been steadily increasing.
Israel and Hamas are back at war.
It should be a really good snow season across the state.
Keep up with these and the stories still to come. Listen to Tim and Amanda in the morning from 5 to 9. Dave and Dujanovic at 9. And Boyd Matheson at 1. And on your drive home, get breaking updates and Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News from 3 to 7. All day, all season.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Christmas come early for Dave. That's what's going to happen. Master Electrical is coming out to my house today, Debbie.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited because I have a new electric vehicle. I do not have a charger in my garage, so I've been charging exclusively at work. And
I was worried about you.
Yeah,
I'm just worried about you just only charging here. So I'm excited that Master Electrical is coming to your house so you can plug in at home as well. Master Electrical does all things electrical. If you need new ceiling lights, which you know you do, you need to update that kitchen space. You're tired of trying to figure out if you're cutting an onion or you're cutting a cutting a pepper, or whatever the case may be. Master Electrical really has this wonderful policy where their upfront pricing is guaranteed. So the price that they give you up front is the price you pay when it's invoice time.
Yeah, and this is not an emergency for me, but they do handle emergencies. So if you have something happen, you can call them 24/7 from Logan to Santa Quin.
And we know emergencies always happen at the wrong time. So thankfully, Master Electrical is always open. So give them a call today, 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Les Olson IT is now a Rico Graphic Arts and Production Systems dealer. Rico chose Les Olson because of our reputation for superior service and national recognition. Les Olson IT chose Rico Graphics because they're the best value compared to other commercial-grade printers. Rico excels in high volume, high speed, high resolution, and offers an exciting fifth color. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Are you ready to just take charge of your physical health and well-being? Now's the perfect time to do it, and the best way to do it is with SOTA Weight Loss. SOTA stands for state-of-the-art weight loss because it is. It's state-of-the-art. It'll help you deal with all of the challenges that normally go unaddressed when it deals with weight loss. You're going to have your own coach and nutritionist that are going to help you tackle the mental, emotional habits, the behaviors associated that will allow you to let that excess weight go. The pounds and inches fall off. It's amazing. I lost 37 pounds in just 90 days, and now it's been almost 2 full years. I am still 37 pounds down. I've never felt better, all through Soda Weight Loss. And I'm not the only one. There's thousands of people across the country with similar results. It puts you in charge and you in control of what your body needs, how you get it, and how you can really thrive. Do it with Soda Weight Loss, as I always say, when it comes to your Soda Weight Loss journey. There's no time to lose, only time to win, so start winning today. Check it out at sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com.
Mr. Mac's Buy One, Get One sale. Buy one suit for $2.99. Get the second for $100. Any style, any occasion. Free alterations in 9 locations. Mr. Mac.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a member of Congress from Utah says his colleagues could get something done on the budget if they'd stop quibbling. Second, we know now who the shooter was at UNLV yesterday. We may have some insight as to why he killed 3 people there. Third, former BYU and Virginia football coach Bronco Mendenhall has taken a new job at the University of New Mexico. Right now, 46 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Incredible growth. This year alone, we've added 56,000 residents to Utah, most of them in Utah County, a lot of them in Salt Lake County as well. But in the next 25 years, we're expected to nearly double in size. So, like, adding another 2.5 million people to the state. I mean, it's going to be crowded. But we're talking about where we're going to put all those people because, as Ari Bruning of Envision Utah eloquently pointed out earlier, it's coming. The growth is coming. There's nothing really that we're going to be able to do to shut down the state of Utah. So we might as well do things the right way.
And quite honestly, we just have to learn to live differently in some ways because the big lots, the big homes, what we're used to here in Utah, we're squeezing ourselves out. It's just there's not enough land remaining to keep doing things the way we've always done them. So I think it is requiring us to think differently, and that's not always easy.
So we talked a few minutes ago, Ari, about building closer to already developed communities as opposed to starting brand new communities where there's just a lot of land and not a lot of resources there. So let's talk about Utahns' appetite to build smaller homes. And a lot of folks right now living in 3,500, 4,000, 4,500 and larger square foot homes. What's Envision Utah's vision on this, and what have people been telling you when you go out and survey people about, our housing market? What's their appetite?
Well, the market is clearly shifting towards smaller lots, smaller homes. I mean, that's what people can afford, and I don't think we don't need to convince anybody of that, right? That's just where people are headed. What the convincing, I think, is convincing the neighbors to allow them to live in that kind of product.
And build more. Yeah. And build more.
Ryan, one of the hurdles I know that you've noticed was when you're trying to develop, and perhaps you have a plot of land and you're trying to build on it, there are delays, there are costs associated with that sometimes can take years to clear.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And what we're finding is that sometimes in the city, some of these housing ordinances are so complicated, the developers come back and they say, wow, this is hard to navigate and negotiate. So simplifying those regulations, simplifying those codes so that they can easily be understood would save time. But then on the flip side of the coin, we have developers, and we hear this from cities, developers aren't turning in housing plans that aren't up to snuff. They need redlining. They need to be redone. So on both sides of the coin, there's progress to be made in the time for approval.
Are there certain cities that are easier to build higher density housing in right now that could be models for other cities? Anything stand out to you, Ari?
Yeah, there are some great examples out there. I mean, you can look at South Jordan with Daybreak. There's great variety of housing there. Mill Creek is pretty much built out, but they're still finding ways to add housing in that Mill Creek Commons area. Just a lot of great examples. There are other cities though that are saying, I just want large lots and that's it. And that they're very expensive places to live, and a lot of people who work in those cities, the police officers and the firefighters and the teachers can't afford to live in them.
So they're commuting in.
I found it interesting when we were listening to Governor Cox and he was laying out a lot of his plans and things he wanted to do. He clearly had pulled from a lot of your recommendations from Envision Utah. One aspect that he had touched on was to facilitate the use of off-site construction. So this is a different way of building homes. Can you take us inside what that means?
So we have this great opportunity because of this modular homes built offsite. The technology is not what it was in the 70s and 80s. So don't think that housing product. Think of more a newer product, a very efficient product. But what it allows us to do when we build offsite is to build in more quantity. So one, we can build more offsite, but we can also control the cost, and then we could also control the quality. So a lot of cities just aren't zoned for these modular homes, but it might be a really good solution in rural Utah, in our rural areas where there's not the labor, and we do have a little bit more land to work with. So
when I think modular homes, I do think mobile homes, and we know that over time, over the last several decades, that mobile home parks have been disappearing from Utah as developers or landowners sell off the land and they convert them to, apartments or whatever the case may be. So is there an appetite for that kind of housing? And who's willing to step up and start building it to the point where it makes sense?
Well, that is a really good question because we don't have in Utah a lot of builders doing these modular homes because the facilities aren't here. But if we look in places like Boise or other states, they've had really good luck because you still have to transport these take them across our highway system, and that can be.
I'm sorry. I just want one more question, Dave, if you don't mind. How big are they typically? Like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and
well, there's quite a variety, and we've even seen some that are two-story. But what they come in at about 400 to 500 square foot units, and then they're assembled on site. And so
so like the 400 to 500 each, and then they're attached.
They
is that how that is? So they get a little bit bigger once they get to the lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a kit, to be honest. In some ways, it is a kit. They come in. I've seen these, and I remember one was I toured a parade of homes that had been built off-site, had been brought in, and they assembled it so quickly because many of the walls and the designs had been done beforehand, and they assembled it in a week or two. I mean, it was incredibly fast, and you wouldn't have guessed in a million years that it was a modular home.
Really?
I was absolutely shocked.
You didn't know when you walked in it?
It looked no different than any house I've ever been in. It was a completely different way of looking at modular homes.
Well, and even if we look back in our history, in the 1940s, Sears did this, and if you drive around the valley, we've done this before, and there's some pretty cool homes, and they're pretty hard to identify.
Sears and Roebuck?
Here in Utah?
Sears and Roebuck,
wow.
Yes. If you, and they were delivered on rail, so they're generally pretty close to rail lines.
Ari Bruning from Envision Utah, along with Ryan Beck in studio with us as we talk about solutions to Utah's growing population and our housing shortage. Do you think there's an appetite for these kind of homes?
Absolutely. As Dave said, you can't tell. They look the same. The main difference actually is that they're higher quality. They're more energy efficient, for example. And I've seen studies that suggest you can save construction costs by somewhere between 20 and 60% by building off-site. So when the governor's talking about getting a facility here so that you can so you don't have to transport it as far, that's a real solution.
So on a $500,000 home, you said how much would you save? 20% or more?
Yeah.
That's a significant savings. And then what you need is a small lot to put it on, right?
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Amazon will be taking over our housing market too.
Well, in fact,
Amazon Prime, I love it.
In
They'll
fact,
deliver it.
you all might be interested in this. I certainly am. We are going to talk more in depth about the idea of owning a home, but not the lot, and leasing the lot, which also reduces costs. In just a moment, with the governor's new housing director, about how that vision will work. So look forward to that conversation in about 6 minutes. But Ari Bruning, now that we got your name figured out, sorry, we were Dave.
Former White House press secretary Ari Bruning.
Dave told me your last name was Fleischer. That is just so.
My bad.
My bad. It's weird and funny all at once. So, but thank you for letting us know your actual last name is Bruning of Envision Utah. Ryan Beck, thanks for popping in again and having a face-to-face conversation with us about this important information for our listeners.
Yeah, these are practical solutions, and I think the more we talk about them, the more we see, because I think what's in our brain, the way we think of, for example, modular homes or small homes and small lots, this is happening all across Utah. And Daybreak, Debbie, you live there. It's a great example. When you go out there, it doesn't feel like you're on top of each other. It doesn't feel like you're rubbing elbows with your neighbors at all times. I think it's a different way to look at housing, but it's absolutely crucial because we are growing phenomenally fast.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. The West Davis Highway set to open earlier than we were expecting. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
UDOT spokesman Mitch Shaw tells us the highway that begins the Legacy Parkway interchange will be a much welcomed alternate to driving through Davis County.
It's another highway for people to use and takes traffic off of I-15. Obviously, that's the road that people use to commute.
Mitch says it will open January 6th and will include a fun run and walk beginning at 10 a.m. before the West Davis Highway, also known as SR 177, opens to vehicle traffic that same day at 11:30. The 16-mile four-lane highway under construction since 2021 is one of UDOT's biggest construction projects and will include 10 miles of walking and biking trails. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A judge in Austin has struck a potentially devastating blow to a state law that prohibits most abortions in Texas. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Kate Cox of Dallas is 20 weeks pregnant with a fetus her doctors have determined will either be stillborn or will die soon after birth. Texas law does allow for abortions if the mother's life is at risk, and Cox's attorneys argued that she fit the criteria. District Court Judge Maya Guerra-Gamble.
I am going to grant the temporary restraining order for Ms. Cox.
The Texas Attorney General's office has not said yet whether it will appeal the ruling. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up now on the day 53 points. The NASDAQ is up 194 right now. And our KSL weather, the rain's done, but we'll see snow overnight. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32. We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Every year I tell myself, Doug, you can't procrastinate. It's time to get into Burt Brothers. Make sure that the vehicle I drive, the vehicles that Dee drives, and our family vehicles are all ready for winter. And Burt Brothers, boy, as these temperatures start to drop, soon the snowflakes are going to fall, the roads are going to be slick. You need peace of mind on Utah's snowy roads. Winter tires from Burt Brothers, they make all the difference. You can drive with confidence. Specialized tires designed to grip the road in the harshest conditions. They give you better traction, handling, shorter braking distances, and the gift of safety for you and your loved ones. And right now, save up to $130 back on 4 Bridgestone Blizzak tires through December 16th. That's only at Burt Brothers with complete auto care. They can take care of it all. Make sure you're not off on the side of the road with a little help from your friends at Burt Brothers. And there's a location for Burt Brothers near you.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
Your nearby Elite Day and Night Home Comfort experts wish you the happiest holiday and a $1,200 instant discount on a new day and night home comfort system.
The holidays, a time for family and friends, and you'll be warm all winter long with a new day and night home comfort system. Through December 15th, get an up to $1,200 instant discount with day and night's no hassle warranty on qualifying systems. Go to dayandnightcomfort.com for a day and night Elite dealer near you. The difference is day and night.
The semi-annual sale is underway at Foothill Oriental Rugs. Jim Weber is with me. And tell us a little bit about your latest trips and the people that you're helping.
There's a guy I've dealt with in Pakistan. His name is Mahmood. He's Afghan, and he still has rug manufacturing infrastructure going on in northwestern Afghanistan, where they're doing the most beautiful vegetable-dyed rug production in the world right now. And I love giving those people work, because if anyone needs jobs, it's the Afghans. These Afghan vegetable-dyed rugs are just beautiful pieces of textile art.
Every time I come into the store, you have such a great variety for people to choose from. The other thing that really differentiates you from the other guy, they can even take them home if they want to.
It's hard to make a decision on a rug until you see it in the space, so we always encourage our customers to try them in the space before they make a decision. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs, because our retail prices are better than the industry on average, and right now they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Len Thomas.
Dan, we're rolling along nicely in the Salt Lake Valley. I-15, no delays from the point of the mountain to the downtown ramps in either direction, but the Belt Routes also no delays. KSL's Ricky Meese letting us know that the traffic lights at 114th South and 3rd East are malfunctioning. Crew's working on it right now. In Ogden, a crash southbound I-15 on the right shoulder, and another one crashed westbound I-84 just east of I-15 in Riverdale, and one over in Heber. It's westbound US 40, 13 miles south of Heber. Enjoy Utah's beautiful snow and whole family fun with winter tubing at Soldier Hollow and Midway. Experience longer tubing lanes, shorter lines, and more fun. Book your session now at UtahOlympicLegacy.org. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, no more rain today, but we'll see snow showers starting up overnight, and the valleys could see 2 inches with up to 16 inches in the northern mountains. Right now, partly cloudy, 49 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
David Dujanovic.
We just got done brainstorming what I think are really fascinating ideas on how to deal with the growth and the lack of housing going forward as we look at the population doubling in size here over the next, 25 years or so. I want to talk more in depth right now about this idea that came out a couple of days ago when the governor announced, Dave, his pitch to get 35,000 starter homes built in the state of Utah in the next 5 years. I noticed a line in one of the news reports I was reading. It has to do with leasing the lots. My understanding of it is you can own the home that you're living in, but the lot would be leased for a nominal fee. And I want to know more about that.
Well, I kind of chuckle a couple different ways. Number one, this is totally the mobile home model, where you can own the mobile home, but you're renting the land. And when I hear nominal fee, I also chuckle because the mobile home model has made the homes extremely affordable, but the lot rental is very expensive. It can cost $1,000 just for the lot rental.
We were just talking, though, about modular homes, and they're making this comeback. And then you said you went to a parade of homes where there was a modular home, which is built off-site, brought in, put down on the ground, put together. And you said you had no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things. Once you put it together, you don't pick it up and move it somewhere else. The way it was designed, it was, when we bring it here, you set it up, and that is your permanent home. So unlike the conventional mobile home or the mobile home parks where you could hook it up to a trailer or move it onto a flatbed. That is not what these modular homes are being used for.
So what I'm envisioning then is modular homes being built, brought in to the state. Hopefully we can start building them here, and then set down on a lot that is leased, but you don't really know that it's a modular home because it looks so fabulous. And it's of homes. Steve Waldrop is the Senior Advisor for Housing Strategy and Innovation for the Governor. Good morning.
Good morning to both of you. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Well, I'm excited to learn more about this, even though it seems like kind of an odd concept in a lot of ways. I think it's a fascinating one as well. How does the lease work on these lots? Or at least how do you envision that working, Steve?
Well, it's one model, and there are a number of different opportunities there. Sometimes these are in what are called community land trusts, where it's a charitable organization that owns the property underneath. Moab has one that they're developing right now. They're more prevalent in other parts of the country than they are in Utah, but it's something that is on the radar here to push for more of, because it does solve one of the issues, which is what happens if the land lease underneath you becomes unaffordable, which is, frankly, the mobile home park model, right? As those have been purchased by large corporate entities, the rent goes up. Mobile homes are not, frankly, mobile. And modular homes are not very mobile either. So there's got to be a balance between the security of having these opportunities available to make homes more affordable, but also make sure that it's not going to be a gotcha for the homeowner down the road, where all of a sudden you've got an asset that is no longer valuable because it's sitting on property you don't own, and you can't, frankly, economically move it to somewhere else.
Is there an idea of how much you could save with this kind of a model?
It'll vary depending on whether you're talking about a community land trust model, which again is, would be a significant savings, because you're essentially taking the bulk of the land cost out of the equation. So if you think about a lot selling for, anywhere from $40,000 on up, depending on where you're looking. If you take that cost largely out of the equation or amortize it over a very, very long term, like with the 99-year land lease, which is the community land trust model, it's a significant savings to the price of even a $500,000 home, $400,000 home. It's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Steve Waldrop is a Senior Advisor for Housing Strategy with the Governor's Office. He's live on the line with us right now talking about this concept that was completely new to me. And so I thought, well, let's learn more about it, where you own the home, but not the lot, and you pay a lease or you buy into a lease. And is this like a monthly fee? And I want to get to the point, the idea that I think a lot of people feel uneasy about not owning the land under the home that they've just built. But is this like a monthly fee people pay for these leases, Steve?
Yeah, typically, and again, I'm going to focus mostly on the community land trust model, because I think that is the best model out there that provides, again, the economic benefit of having the land cost reduced, but also the security of knowing that you're not going to get the rug yanked out from underneath you, again, which is what we've been dealing with as a state with a lot of mobile home parks, where you end up with people homeless because all of their money is tied up in an asset that is no longer of any value. So it is a monthly payment typically. And again, in the community land trust model, the whole point of the community land trust is to significantly reduce the land cost component. And also, on many instances, it can also take a big chunk out of the infrastructure cost, where, typically when you're buying a home, you're paying for all of the work in the subdivision, that the roads and everything else that it costs to get all of that to your doorstep or to your front, property line. And so that cost as well can be significantly reduced in that community land trust model.
Well, we appreciate you giving us one more thing to think about, because as we've been discussing the thinking differently about housing, I think we just can't keep building the same old house on the same old lot. We've just run out of space, and the cost is extraordinary. Steve Waldrop, thank you for joining us, the Senior Advisor for Housing Strategy and Innovation from the Governor's Office.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Treat yourself to the depth and analysis on Inside Sources.
Boyd Matheson goes beyond the headlines of the biggest stories.
Listen to Inside Sources from 1 to 3
on KSL News Radio.
Fed Up Kitchen. That is a place where I love to eat because it's eating in my own house. It's a meal prep service that gives you healthy, delicious, ready-to-eat meals. It's going to keep you full and satisfied.
We know lots of you have been Googling fedupkitchen.com, and we appreciate it. We want to encourage you, as you head into the holidays and you're coming up with a new strategy, maybe you want to, watch your weight, or you want to eat more healthy in the new year, whatever the case may be, fedupkitchen.com. That's your go-to. These are healthy meals. They are heat and eat. You just need to pick them up or arrange for delivery, which is maybe even more convenient. But really, their locations, Dave, are all over Utah. So you can just swing in, pick up your meals for the next several days, and you're good to go.
The key for me here, Debbie, is that there's no cooking required. I think we've all maybe dabbled or tried with those fresh deliveries where you get the recipe, you get the food, but then you got to spend 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour preparing and cleaning up. This is something that you can store in your fridge. You take it out, you warm it up, and you're good to go.
They're gluten-free, they're macro-friendly, low in sugar, and like I said, pickup and delivery options are available. So don't waste another minute. Get online right now and Google fedupkitchen.com.
This joyful sound is the No More Chemo bell at Intermountain Health St. George Hospital, and it means that Sarah Parker beat cancer. It also means her doctor spotted it early enough to treat, and that her oncologist helped her fight it every step of the way. It means that her nurse helped her keep track of medicines, and that a case manager made the whole experience just a little bit easier. Every time we hear that bell, it reminds us that all things are possible when we work together. It reminds us of the power of we. Intermountain Health.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15's. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Are you one of those people? You know, self-driven, confident, love sales and understanding marketing. Would you like to work with a variety of businesses, large and small, helping them succeed? Do you want to actually make the kind of money you know you should make? Are you looking for a career with an opportunity to grow?
Well, we're looking for those people.
Bonneville Salt Lake Media Group is looking for account executives from a variety of backgrounds and experience levels to connect with high-potential business opportunities for digital marketing. KSL podcasts. KSL News Radio, 103.5 The Era, FM 100.3, and 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It's advertising sales that will change your world. Not to mention the world-class list of benefits we're famous for. You'll work in person and remotely in a dynamic team culture with opportunities to reach audiences both locally and globally. If this is the kind of work that interests you, text careers to 57500. That's careers to 57500. Text careers to 57500.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, the West Davis Highway will be opening earlier than planned. Commuters could be driving on in a month from now. Second, Hunter High School's annual play that includes special education students along with others runs tonight and tomorrow. And third, a judge in Texas is holding up that state's new abortion law. And right now, we're at 49 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
We're going to talk to Jay Evenson with the Deseret News about this headline and the opinion that he wrote about it. Why is life expectancy in the United States lagging behind other nations? It is a great question.
It doesn't make any sense to me. We have the greatest innovation when it comes to health care. We have access. We don't turn people away. I don't know why our life expectancy is less than anybody else. I would think that we would be number one. Jay, joining us right now, Jay Evenson is the opinion editor at the Deseret News. What's going on?
It's very disappointing to me because at the turn of the century, I looked and back at the 20th century, we'd gone from a life expectancy of 47 years to 76.9. And I was looking in the future and seeing all the advances we're making in medicine and et cetera. And I guessed that we might live to be 150 or 200 by the end of the
You thought
century.
so?
Yes, I did.
Based on your math.
And it was kind of heading that way until about 2010, and then it kind of stalled out. And then, of course, the pandemic came and life expectancy actually went down. And it's come back since, but it has not come back to the degree that it has in other countries. And we haven't regained everything that we lost through the pandemic.
Jay, in your research, how do we stack up against other countries?
You have to go way down the list. I think we're about 47th in terms of life expectancy. And so you have a long list of countries with an expectancy of over 80 years. And we're still at 77.5 years combined. It's more for women. It's 80.2 for women and 74.8 for men. But yes, there's a long list, and I mentioned some of them. Japan, 85.9 years. Switzerland, 84.4. France, 83.3. We don't measure up to those countries.
How much of this is lifestyle, and how much does lifestyle contribute to this?
Well, you talk to the experts, and they give you a bunch of reasons, and I've made a list of them. Heart disease, obesity, diabetes, cancer, drug overdoses, gun ownership, vaccination aversion, auto accidents, lack of trust in institutions, lack of access to health care. We're probably guilty on all of those to some extent, but I'm a little skeptical of some of them. I mean, gun ownership.
So?
Well, gun ownership, we've always owned guns in this country, and yet through the 20th century, our life expectancy kept going up. We've always been sort of skeptical of institutions. I do think, though, that it has to be a lifestyle issue, and I do think we do have a problem with aversion to vaccines, particularly as it affects our children. There are fewer parents that are getting their kids vaccinated, and over the long haul, that's going to have an effect.
I have one idea of what has greatly contributed to us, and it is called the cronut. Are you guys aware of the cronut?
I can imagine.
It's a croissant
like
that
a
is
donut.
deep fried. A croissant, mind you, is just laminated bread and butter and back and forth. And then they deep fry it. We love the cronut because it tastes amazing, but I think it speaks in part to our eating habits here in this country that we've developed the cronut because we love deep fried stuff with cheese.
Yeah, I was in Europe over the summer, and it's interesting when you go over there. You go to a restaurant, first of all, the portions are a lot smaller. unless you go to an American fast food restaurant chain over there. But the portions are smaller, and people eat a lot more greens and vegetables and that type of thing. We like our deep fried stuff, and it's not good for us.
My theory is there's just a lack of exercise, and I don't mean you have to go do burpees at the gym for 30 minutes straight, and run on a treadmill at Mach speed, but walking. We love our cars. We love to drive. We even drive our cars to track stations to park them to get on the tracks train, even if it's close to where we live. What are your thoughts on that, Jay?
We complain a lot about gas prices, but it is a lot cheaper here than it is in other countries, and so there is an incentive to drive. And we have mass transit, but not to the extent that they do in other countries. And when you have mass transit, you have to walk to a station, and then you have to walk to a destination when you get off, and that's healthy. I drove my car here a few minutes ago and parked in the garage and took an elevator up. I took maybe 5 steps to get here, and that's pretty typical for Americans.
Jay Evenson, opinion editor for the Deseret News, one of his latest opinions is, what is U.S. life expectancy? And he found that it's not increasing like it has been in other countries. In fact, we are at, 47th, 46th in the world for life expectancy. And other countries are faring much better than we are.
Well, let me go back to your gas prices. I remember when I was living in Spain, I saw the gas prices. I'm like, oh, they're about the same as here in America. And they're like, oh, no. They sell it by the liter,
yes,
not by the gallon. And it was the same price. I just looked at the gas prices in Europe, in Spain specifically, and it's about $8 a gallon for gasoline.
Ouch.
So there is a practicality in there. It was unheard of that a family would have 2 cars.
Yeah.
Like if there was 1 car, that was something special, but like no one had 2 cars.
You figure that out quickly when you come home from Europe and then you look at your credit card bill. What? How much was I spending?
Are we okay, do you think, as a nation, having our life expectancy be 70-something years old? The quality of life beyond your 80s or 90s. I've heard some people like, I don't want to be in a home, for example. I don't want to have to go live back with my kids and
that's
be
a good point.
Burden to them. I don't know.
I don't want to live 100 years.
I want it to be healthy years.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't want to be a burden on my own children.
Well, that goes back to lifestyle too, and of course,
that's true.
You can have a living will that gives your preferences for whether you're going to be kept alive on life support or not. But I think if we have a better lifestyle and are healthier, we're not going to have those problems in old age.
I would agree with you. As long as I don't injure myself doing all those burpees at the gym, Jay, I'll live a healthy, happy life. Hopefully, well into my grandmother lived to be 98. And she was pretty healthy for most of those years.
We've seen a lot of people in the last couple of years die at very old ages. Henry Kissinger and Norman Lear and Jimmy Carter's 99. So we are seeing more people live longer, certainly than we used to. But you want to have a quality of life. The Washington Post calls this a long-term mortality crisis, and I think it is something to worry about, that we're lagging behind other countries in this category, and we should.
It's certainly curious because you would think, as great as we are in this country, maybe we're not doing things very well when it comes to our overall health.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm looking at France, for example, the average life expectancy is 83 years old. They retire at 62, I think. 62, I think they just bumped it up to 64.
Yeah.
But that is 30 years of retirement.
Yeah.
Like, wrap your brain around that. 30 years of retirement in France. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, you've got to have something to do in that time, right? I'm approaching this and thinking, okay, what are you going to do in retirement? Because I don't think it's healthy to just retire and play
stare
golf
at the ceiling.
every day. Yeah.
Well, you couldn't. You're in Utah.
Right.
You have to go back to Arizona.
That's right.
Jay Evenson, opinion editor for the Deseret News, a great perspective on what U.S. life expectancy is and what is going on in the world around us that's allowing people from other countries to live a lot longer, quite frankly.
If there's one thing we are competitive, so we like to win in everything. I wouldn't be surprised that we start making some changes and trying to address this.
Thanks, Jay. Good to see you again. Straight ahead, Utah grew, as we've been reporting, by 56,000 people in just the last year. Kempsey Gardner Institute did this analysis, and they're going to join us to talk specifics of where all these people are moving to in Utah.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. Our top story this hour, a law passed here in Utah to restrict transgender girls from playing high school sports will be back in court today. The last hearing, the judge asked to see medical records before moving forward. The lawsuit against the Utah High School Activities Association, brought by the ACLU, which wants 2 transgender students who want to play for their school's swim and volleyball teams to be allowed to do that. Hunter High School in West Valley City hosts an annual play performed by special education students with the help of others. Jessica Coffey is a special ed teacher. She says these shows have helped the different kids become friends.
We've got a big group of theater kids that hang out together, and when our kids walk up to them and say hi, they're just so inviting, and our kids become part of that circle.
They'll be performing Finding Nemo Jr. tonight and tomorrow night at 7:30. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Health officials have launched an inspection of a plant in South America that makes applesauce in pouches marketed toward children after dozens of reports of acute lead poisoning. ABC's Dave Packer reports.
The FDA is looking at cinnamon as a likely source of lead contamination in the applesauce pouches and is collecting samples at the Ostro Foods plant in Ecuador. 64 children across 27 states have been sickened, according to the FDA. The recalled applesauce pouches were sold under the brand names Schnucks, Weiss, and Wanabana, which voluntarily recalled the packages.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day, 92 points, and a stronger uptick for the NASDAQ, now up 193 points. Our KSL weather, look for snow coming overnight. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
Donate your car to Charity Hotline. This is Roger.
Hi, Roger, I'd like to donate my car.
Yeah, good. Leave the keys in it, park it on the street, and we'll send a thug. Tow.
Where's your office?
In New Jersey. Where do you want it to be?
Well, Roger,
yeah.
I want to make sure my donation helps Utah kidney patients.
It will.
Which ones?
Well, does it matter?
Yes, I want the money to stay in Utah.
And boy, have you got the wrong number.
If you want your car donation to help people here in Utah, turn your car into a kidney car for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Hi, this is Lewis Perez. Kidney Cars is the Beehive State's #1 choice for charity car donation since 1990. When you donate your car to Kidney Cars, funding stays in Utah to help local Utah kidney patients and funds local medical research. Kidney Cars gets donors the highest tax deduction, along with free towing. Visit towcars.org and learn more. That's Tow Cars with a K like kidney. That's TOWKARS.org.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Do you ever feel like getting your supplies for your CPAP is just a huge headache? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. We'll say goodbye to the hassle and hello to a stress-free life with our CPAP resupply service. Signing up is a breeze. Just place a call, choose your products, and leave the insurance billing and shipping to us. Our discreet packaging prioritizes your privacy, and we always ensure an on-time delivery. No more trips to the store or worrying about running out of important supplies. We get how crucial your CPAP therapy is, so don't let the stress of keeping up with it affect affect your sleep and health. Join Alpine Resupply today and enjoy a tranquil night's sleep with all your CPAP essentials. Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Positive mortgage news? Interest rates have dropped and trending down from 2023 yearly highs. Click loansbyrick.com. Purchase or cashback loans. Visit loansbyrick.com.
Up to a 30% upfront bonus and 12% per year guaranteed growth for retirement. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and these are the highest guarantees with annuities I have seen in my life. When interest rates are this high, there are silver linings, and annuity guarantees are one of them. Up to a 30% bonus upfront for retirement income. On $100,000, that's up to $42,000 guaranteed in the first year, and it's because of the economy and its high interest rates. Don't let anyone, especially another financial advisor, tell you it's not true. Up to 30% upfront just for opening an account and up to 12% per year guaranteed income growth. Don't miss out. This won't last forever. If you have an old 401k, get up to 30% upfront and 12% guaranteed growth for income today.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Looks like the small accident we had westbound to I-84 in the South Weber area near Adams Avenue is in the final cleanup stages. Also, a surface street crash in South Salt Lake, 3300 South, just west of State Street. Peterson Arts Center, give the gift of creativity with a gift certificate good for any art or pottery class. It's the perfect gift for spouses, kids, friends, and seniors. The Peterson Arts Center in Sugar House. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we'll see snow showers starting late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Valleys could see up to 2 inches, up to 16 inches in the northern mountains. And right now, partly cloudy, 46 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I have been going in-depth all week long on growth and housing in Utah. We're going to continue our in-depth look at it right now as we look at where the growth is happening the most. Like, what communities are sustaining our new residents as they continue to move into the state? A new report from Kempsey Gardner Institute, Dave. You and I have been talking about this just a little bit this morning. We're going to take a deeper look at it right now. Shows that there are 56,000 new residents who've moved to Utah just this year.
And part of what makes this a little tricky is we're about somewhere between 25 and 30,000 houses short. We just don't have enough housing for people that want it. And because we have underbuilt over the last many years, we have a shortage. So people are kind of forced into either renting or overpaying to try to get into something.
You live in Davis County, and you've lived there your whole life.
Yep.
You don't get out much. You've left the state sort of temporarily and then come back, but you've done a lot of traveling. Have you noticed a lot of growth up in Kaysville where you live?
Kaysville has been built out for a very long time.
So there's no room to really put
There
new
really
people?
isn't a lot of room for growth. There's been a little bit here and there, but where I've really seen it is outside of Kaysville itself. It's a pretty small little town, but Farmington has exploded. Farmington Station
still in Davis County.
Is still in Davis County. So there are some areas where we've seen a lot of businesses come in and build out much more. I've seen a lot of that.
When I looked at the report, it looked like 5,000 new residents had moved to Davis County. In Salt Lake County, we've had 14,000 new residents move to the state. Utah County is the winner. I'm going to have to be reminded, but I think the report said 22,000 in Utah County.
Yeah.
Emily Harris is a senior demographer for the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute up at the University of Utah. Did I misremember that number in Utah County, or was it about 22,000 in the last year, Emily?
Yeah, no, you're correct. It's 22,000, but the the caveat that I will add to that is that that's a mixture of both people being born in the area and people moving in. So you get a little bit of both in there.
So what area would you say is the hottest as far as people moving in? Because obviously children being born, growth that way. I guess I'm thinking of the families, the individuals that are moving into a city or a county. Where are we seeing that happen?
Yeah, so Utah County really is just kind of like the center of Utah's growth right now. It has the highest absolute growth in the state for the year. It has the most natural increase, which has that birth component, and it has the highest net migration in the state.
Emily,
the growth in Utah County accounts for 40% of the statewide growth this year.
That's a huge number. That's a huge number. And we've been seeing that shift, right, Emily, over the last several years.
Yeah, and as Dave had mentioned, Davis County, that's, getting built out. Salt Lake County is also becoming relatively built out, but Utah County still has a fair amount of space, especially as you kind of go farther south in the county to continue building and bring new homes and new people.
Utah County is enormous. I mean, stretching from obviously the point of the mountain. I'm trying to think of how far it goes down. Does it go almost down to Nephi?
Yeah.
I mean, it's and then east west. It even goes to the west side, I believe, of Utah Lake. So is in part we're seeing the massive growth happening just because there's so much area where you could build new communities?
Yeah. So, I mean, historically, like decades ago, you were seeing kind of north of Salt Lake being built out with Davis and Weber counties. And really over the last 20, 30 years, you're starting to now see more of that growth occurring south of Salt Lake County as the north end has kind of become more saturated.
What is the southern line, so to speak, in Utah County? Where has that growth kind of peaked out? How far south?
Yeah. So these estimates are at the county level. So really all we can speak to is what's going on in the county as a whole, though we do plan on releasing some small area estimates that will have city level probably in the next couple of months. So then we can have more information on which communities within Utah County are really growing a ton.
Well, before we let you go, Emily, where I love it when you look in your crystal ball, so hopefully it's working today, and I'm not catching you off guard. Is Utah County going to continue over the next several years and decades taking the brunt of the population growth? Or are we going to spread out to other communities and share the love to into Willa County, for example?
Yeah. So, I mean, Utah County for probably the last 15 years has been one of the top growing counties in the state, but it's not the only one. You mentioned Tooele County. That's also been growing a lot. And then, we also have our friends in southwestern Utah, like Washington and Iron counties that are also growing a ton. So Utah County, I feel like at least for the next few years, probably at least to 2030, we're going to be seeing a lot of growth. But, eventually you can't just keep growing exponentially forever. So eventually it will get to a point where it can't just keep bringing in tons and tons of people every year.
What do we do then? I mean, do we tell people to stay out? I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Let me tell you about Mighton.
I guess we'll figure that out with the help of Kempsey Gardner Institute and other experts on this issue as time moves forward. Emily Harris, is always so fun to have you on the show because you know these trends like the back of your hand. We really, really appreciate you sharing the information that you guys found in this latest report.
It doesn't totally surprise me that Davis County is getting built out and in some areas like totally built out. But Utah County is enormous. Tooele County is still enormous.
Tell me what it's like there in Davis County. I don't get up there as often as I used to. I'm very familiar with like Farmington Station and all the growth around there and the new housing. But beyond there, I'm not as familiar. Does it feel like it's getting older and aging a little bit? Or is there still the, newer infrastructure, like newer shopping areas? Are they tearing down shopping areas to build new ones?
No, Farmington Station was an enormous deal. They had it's on the west side, essentially on the other side of I-15 from
mall.
Lagoon.
Yeah.
So everyone knew Lagoon. Lagoon has this massive sprawling theme park. Well, they built, and that was kind of the last huge build in Davis County that I can really
like a
remember.
Mall with all these shops and
yes, it's
places
got
to eat,
restaurants,
movies.
it's got the movie theaters. It was an enormous build, but it had taken years and years and years to get it greenlit before they finally did it. Now it's been extremely popular. It has a track stop or a front runner stop. It really has become a hub, but there's not a lot of areas like that. Now, what will be interesting is as they're building the new freeway systems on the West Corridor.
To Davis County.
Yeah, into Davis County, up through Syracuse. You know, there's more infrastructure, freeways that will possibly be a game changer, because the hardest part right now, especially when you start going into the northern parts of Davis County, is when you start heading west out into Fremont or Syracuse. It's a pretty substantial drive. It's hard to get out there. It's hard to get back to the main arteries. So as the infrastructure changes, we'll see some more growth on that west side.
Next, let's talk about another one of our favorite topics to discuss here on the show. And actually, we sometimes we can fight it out. It has to do with tipping. We're in the holiday season, right? We're in the spirit of things. So who do you tip? Who do you not tip? Like, do you tip your mail carrier? Dave's looking at me like I'm...
Debbie, I am shocked at all the people you tip in your life. I cannot believe you tip for a coffee. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy town, right?
No, I know.
You buy like a $3 coffee and you've got a tip on top of that?
I've got the book on tipping in front of me. It's literally, I don't know how many pages this is. I'm going to sort it out for you. Like, when are you just absolutely rude not tipping during the holidays? Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
2 new reasons to drop in on KSL on Friday mornings.
Starting in January, you'll hear Dave and Debbie Fridays at 9
And hear the movie show at lunch from 11 to 1.
on KSL News Radio.
Was this on your list for 2024?
Mike Lee could be on the short list to head up the Justice Department.
Mike Lee as AG. And that would mean another Utah Senate race. Or not. The plot thickens for Your Voice and Your Vote 2024 on KSL News Radio.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com.
Advertising used to be simple. Your options were radio, TV, newspaper, and let's not forget the yellow pages. Now it seems like a tidal wave of options. Podcast, cable TV, streaming, OTT, CTV, audio networks, smart speakers. On top of that, you need digital marketing for your website along with SEM, SEO, display, video, YouTube, email, and all the social media platforms. Look, you're the expert in your business. Wouldn't it be nice to have an expert to market you? We are Bonneville Salt Lake, the local marketing and media company you know and trust. We reach customers across all digital and social platforms and have the reach of traditional advertising available as well. We find your customer anytime, any place, anywhere on any device here in Utah or anywhere in the world. We work to optimize your results with our in-house local team of experts, providing you with qualified leads, not just impressions. Contact us at aimyourdigital.com for for a free consultation, including a complete digital audit with no obligation or cost to you. We are Bonneville Salt Lake. Your success starts at aimyourdigital.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. Over the years, I've talked a lot about hard water takes years off the life of water heaters and other appliances in your home. Leaves scum on the shower walls, and you almost need a jackhammer to remove that. I've talked about how Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer, their water softeners are maintenance-free. You just don't need adjustment, and they do the job with 2/3 less salt than other softeners. But today, I want to talk about the exhilarating feeling of stepping into a hot bath or shower and feeling that pure, soft water cascade over your skin. It feels like every pore in your body wants to stand up and start singing. And afterward, there are no itchy hard water deposits sticking all over you. You really should look into a soft water system from Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. You can learn more about Connecticut by giving them a call at 801-576-8600 or log on to Softwater Utah. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. Then sit back and enjoy your shower even more.
The movie show is at Minky Couture in Layton this Friday from 9 to noon. Check out all the ways to stay cozy and warm during these cold months. MinkyCouture.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, there's a court hearing today on Utah's law restricting transgender girls from playing on school sports teams. Second, every year, Hunter High School puts on a play with special education students and their peers from the school, and their performance is tonight. Third, the source of lead contamination in packets of applesauce made for kids could be the cinnamon used to flavor it. Right now, we're at 46 degrees, mostly cloudy skies in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, I am going to school you on tipping during the holiday. Like, what's etiquette? What's just plain rude? So stand by for a lesson. We'll clear up any confusion that you have. Like, should I tip the mailman? I'm sorry, the postal carrier? How about my child's daycare provider? What about their teacher? And when I say tip, this could also come in the form of like a gift card, or teachers don't need any more candles, so maybe not a candle, but you get the point. Like, should I get them a gift at all?
Should you tip or gift your kid's t-ball coach or your rec coach? Because they put in some hours. Trust me, they put in a lot of hours.
Do you tip generally? Are you a tipper?
I would say I am absolutely not a tipper outside of sit-down restaurants.
And I'm the opposite of you. I tip all the time.
You are Banana Town. It is crazy the things you will tip. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me, the things you tip on.
Now, we really started down this issue of tipping not too long ago when bagel shop owner Cheryl called the show. Because this is one place you won't be tipping. She opened a bagel shop up in Bountiful, and we talked to her about her no-tip policy. They don't put out a tip jar. She basically says, look, I pay my employees enough, and they know when they're getting hired that we will not ask for tips from customers at our bagel shop.
I've learned I'm not the only one who felt this way. A lot of people have come in to the shop and have said to me, I came in just because of that. And then they come back and they say, well, I come back because of the bagels, and I'm very grateful. And there is a lot of shame associated with it, to the point of I've had customers kind of lean over the counter nicely and whisper to me, I hate tipping. They're embarrassed to say it. And I think I articulate it well, is that the person standing behind the counter is doing their job. And I feel tip shame that if I don't tip them, it sends this message to them that they're not doing a good job. And they are. It's just, I don't think that's an appropriate setting to ask for a tip.
So at Cheryl's Bagel Shop, you will not suffer from tip fatigue as you do at other places, because there's just not a tip jar out there. And when you get the screen flipped around at you, there's not a percentage to tack on. You know, you push that button and you tack on 15 or 20%. They don't have that. So we won't be tipping at Cheryl's Bagel Shop, but we do hope that her business has increased tremendously. But there are other places, I think, or other people that we wonder, should we tip them or not?
Well, and it's not just tipping, Debbie. We're getting nickel and dimed left and right. Every time I buy something, it's, hey, would you like to cure cancer? and round up, or would you like to, donate to the local firefighters, or do you love that children are in hospitals unable to afford their bills? I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. Don't round up. I mean, it's everything. Every time I turn, somebody is hitting me up.
So you go to the cash register. The total is $29.80, and then they say to you, do you just want to round up to $30, and that extra 20 cents will go to any of those causes
Giving
that
Christmas to
puppies.
Do you want a puppy to go without a Christmas present? Then donate to Puppies of America. Give some puppies. I mean, so you already say no to that.
Okay.
So because you hate puppies, and you want children to,
Do you say no, though? Do you say no?
I say no to everything.
You say no to that.
I do. In fact, Debbie,
do you feel a fool?
I do. They say, do you want to round up to support your local firefighters? I'm like, I'm a police guy. And if they wanted me to contribute to the local police department, I'm like, I'm a fireman guy. Firefighters all day.
See, and I always round up because I feel
it's only 20 cents.
I feel horrible.
1,000
I
times
always
a week.
remind myself, I'm so blessed. I have so much to be thankful for. Why would I not round up? I mean, that's how I feel. And then before I know it, I've rounded up here and there. You're right. I mean, we're getting nickeled and dimed everywhere we go. In fact, you can leave me a tip right there. I need about $20. You can Venmo it to me. So 15% of Americans.
How good do you think your show was this week?
Amazing. 15% of Americans will tip more during the holidays, according to Bankrate. So how do you know what to do? Like, okay, you can totally blow off this advice, but here's at least some guidelines, because here's what ends up happening, according to what Bankrate has found, is people end up asking these questions of friends and family anyways, like, hey, how much are you going to tip the teacher? Or I guess the word tip sounds weird in that context. Like, I would give a gift or a gift card to my kids' teachers, but it's a tip, right? So you're going to turn to them anyway. So let us be your friends and family. We're going to give you that advice. So a teacher.
I love that you said guidelines, like plural. Like there are many guidelines that we're going to follow here. Dave has one guideline. Never, not ever. Okay,
it's
but
hard.
let's hear your crazy guidelines.
And it is hard because everybody's hurting right now. The inflation, all that other, all these other issues that we're dealing with. But I think this actually made me feel better. Because I never knew how much, and so I probably felt like I had to go overboard. You don't. Most people are going to tip $25 this year for their child's teacher. I think when you get, this is just me chiming in on this. Once your kid gets to the high school level and you're like, there's 7 teachers. Come on, I'm not gonna. Just don't. Plus, they're not spending all day with that one teacher. They just aren't. It's like they're switching classes after 35 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that. I would say focus on, if it's an elementary school teacher, giving them maybe a $20, $25 gift card.
Okay.
You don't think so? I've
got a running total here. So
your landscaper, on average, people are going to tip $37. I want to know how you find them in the wintertime. So $37 on average. Odd amount would be super odd for them to open.
I rounded it to 40. Okay.
Christmas
so
gift.
I'm at $65 so
two
far.
$1 bills in it, and you know what I mean. So that's an odd amount. Your mail carrier. I think this one's important. $20. $20 to the mail carrier. Are you still eyeball rolling this?
I've never seen my mail carrier. Like I'm working. When he comes by, it shows up magically in my mailbox.
What about
I never see him. He has no idea who I am.
This may be the most important person in your life who you lack contact with. Your trash collector. Tell me what y'all are going to do with all that trash if that trash collector does not come by once a week.
You're making it sound like these guys are working for free. They're working for tips. This is not a waiter.
$25. What's so curious about your reaction to all of this is when surveyed, men, more so than women, say they will tip more this year than they did last year. So there's some men out there who are not only tipping, Dave, they're like, we're going to we're going to tip even more. In fact, almost 20% of men surveyed say we're going to tip more than we did last year compared to 13% of women. That shocked me because I thought we were the nice ones. I thought we were the generous ones. But apparently, no, we're not. So there's your abbreviated list of what daycare provider. That's an important one. Let me get to that one real quick, Dave, before you take over the rest of the show.
The $1,200 a month you're paying for your daycare provider is not enough. It's that $25 gift card.
No, it's $50.
That's good. Now it's $50.
Between $20 and $50, but it's $50. So
okay,
for most people,
that's $160.
Okay,
that you just
I
rattled
know.
off.
It's a guideline. It's a guideline. Tell me this does not pop into your mind, not maybe your mind, but others' minds when they're, picking their kid up for the last day of school. Should I have gotten my kid's third grade teacher a little something? And what's the right amount?
Can I have a final thought here? We overvalue money and cash in gift cards. Like if you give somebody a sincere compliment, that is, to me, far more valuable than the $25 Chili's gift card. I'm like, ooh, I get to get some chicken fingers, chicken tenders. It's so delicious, right? I think far too often we put the pressure on ourselves when a genuine thank you to the teacher, something specific.
If your child behaves.
Is more.
Like if you send your child to school and they behave.
You know what? That they should be tipping me. Quite honestly, my kids are little angels. They are no pressure. They are no problem. In fact, teachers, $25 coming right back to this guy right now. I think I deserve it. Tip him. Tip the man.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Former BYU and University of Virginia football coach Bronco Mendenhall is coming out of retirement to lead the New Mexico Lobos. Not out of the blue, Mendenhall told ESPN a year ago that his 2-year break at his ranch in Montana isn't permanent.
It's like a third quarter TV timeout back to back. Like that's kind of where I see where I am, right? It's not a single timeout. I mean, it's a great sponsor, so it's a long timeout. But then there's another one right after that.
He's stepping in after former New Mexico coach Danny Gonzalez was let go after a 4-8 record at New Mexico. Mendenhall has cred for leading BYU football for 11 seasons, where he notched 135 wins and 81 losses over his career with both the Cougars and the Virginia Cavaliers. The 2024 Sundance Film Festival lineup has been announced. Some big names headed to Utah. Movies starring Kristen Stewart and Pedro Pascal will premiere at the festival. 2024 marks Sundance's 40th year. It'll start January 18th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Former President Donald Trump back in court today in New York City for his civil fraud trial. The judge has already ruled Mr. Trump and members of his family lied about their finances in loan and insurance documents. Now Trump faces hundreds of millions of dollars in possible fines and the prospect of losing his business charters in the state of New York. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
When he testified under examination by the Attorney General's office, he was plenty combative and explained himself that banks were never defrauded, that he thinks the whole case is a sham, that it's brought by a Democratic Attorney General who's just out for political gain. So we're not sure what's really left for him to say, but he clearly wants to come and testify and participate in his trial.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up right now 89 points. The NASDAQ is up 183 points, about 1.3% right now. And our KSL weather, looks like the rain's done for today, but snow is going to start overnight. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and already this holiday season, I had the chance to sneak off to one of the opening nights and see Elf, and I saw it all by myself. Why? Because the whole family is going to go see Elf here in about 2 weeks. That includes Dee's family flying in from Missouri. We absolutely love the productions at Hale Center Theater. But Elf, I'll tell you, it is so much fun. And if you love the movie, there will be so many things that you love that you saw in the movie, but so much more when you get the HCT treatment right there on that beautiful stage. Don't miss your chance to see Elf. Go to hct.org and lock down your tickets right now. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that this is the time right here, right now, to get your tickets for A Christmas Carol. It sells out each and every year. Don't miss that amazing family tradition. It's waiting for you now at Hale Center Theater.
Hi, Andy Farnsworth here to talk about my soda weight loss journey. Well, I'm 2 months in, and I have lost just under 40 pounds. I'm averaging a little over 4 pounds lost per week, and yes, that even included Thanksgiving week, where I did get to eat delicious food, although maybe not everything at the Thanksgiving table. But I can guarantee you that nothing I would have eaten at that Thanksgiving table would have tasted as good as it feels to put on pants 3 sizes smaller than I was just 2 months ago. My clothes fit me better. I've found clothes that haven't fit me forever that I've been able to pull out of the closet. I've got a pile of clothes to donate that are now too big for me. It's a great feeling to get to those kinds of moments. And SOTA, it stands for state of the art, has been the key for me. Go check out some of the 8,200 reviews on sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. They customize the plan to fit my crazy lifestyle and to help me meet my goals. Sodaweightloss.com. All I can say is, it works.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Dear Santa, thank you so much for remembering me this year. Christmas was the best. Thank you for the shoes, and I love the coat you brought. It's so cute and so warm.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at kslquarters.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway traffic rolling along and looking good, but speaking of rolling, we have a crash for downtown drivers and a report that one, maybe both vehicles rolled and are on its side. This is 800 South at 500 East. Get your photos with Santa at Jordan Landing Shopping Center this holiday season, located in the Entertainment Plaza across from Cinemark. Check out jordanlanding.com for hours and additional details. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we'll see snow showers starting late tonight into tomorrow morning. The valleys could see up to 2 inches, with up to 16 inches in Utah's northern mountains. And right now we're at 46 degrees, partly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inflation, mental health, jobs, some of the reasons why U.S. parents are so stressed. We're going to take a deep dive right now with the Deseret News into the 9th annual American Family Survey. And Dave, as I read the article written by Lois Collins in the D News, I started feeling connected to these families who were surveyed. They're talking about all of the things that are weighing them down. And I'm looking back to, 2005, 2010, when I was raising young kids, and I can feel some of it. I don't know if I could feel all of it, because I know inflation is just crippling pocketbooks right now as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of financial stress, but I don't think that is new. Sure, inflation right now is punching us in the nose, but I think it's always there. The one thing that we have going for us right now is, sure, inflation has been bad for the last couple of years. It's costing us a ton more, but unemployment is low. So we're not losing jobs, and I think there's some safety there. but there's pressure. And this is just, I think this is life. And I wonder how often this stuff just kind of creeps and kind of splashes over the edge where it just feels too much.
Well, maybe it's in our face all the time. I mean, we're on the apps, we're on social media. We're feeling it and we're hearing it all over the place. Lois Collins, Deseret News. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, love having you on, Lois. Talk about this survey. Look at it kind of takes the pulse of 3,000 Americans, and so it gives us a really good idea of how people are feeling about life. What did you find when you started combing through the responses?
So I have been involved with the survey for all 9 of its years, and some things have stayed the same, some things have changed. Talking about costs and why families are affected, even though costs have always felt high for families, there are things that have changed. In the last just few years, the cost of food is up with inflation. That always happens. It goes up, it goes down. But housing costs are really high right now, and have been high for a couple of years in ways that they haven't been in the past. Unemployment is maybe more stable than it was, but wages are not necessarily, unemployment may be down, but wages are not necessarily up. And so even if you have a job, you might be struggling. And the thing that this survey pointed out was that when people talk about high costs, it's particularly bad for low-income families, people making less than about $40,000, I think was our margin in the survey. But even people, 1 in 5 people who are making more than $100,000 feel pinched right now.
How much of this stress is being shared amongst the family? How much of it is transferring to the kids?
Probably a lot of it. And one of the ways that shows up is we asked about teens in particular, what's impacting teens. And there are partisan differences, by the way, I should say that. But some of the impact is being seen in mental health. Parental stress was highly cited in the survey. Lots of families say there's a lot of work demands, pressure. In odd ways, while remote work has offered some families some flexibility, it's also increased pressure in some ways because there's a blurring of the line between when you're done with work and when it can spill over and over and over. Kids are definitely feeling a lot of pressure right now. Some of that has been tied pretty significantly in studies to social media, but not completely. Kids are feeling different kinds of stress too, because I think maybe the most poignant thing that somebody said to me in relationship to this survey was that kids are not getting back any of the things that they lost during the pandemic. Adults will be able to go back to work or not go back to work. They will be able to do various things. But a 4-year-old is never again going to be 4 years old and interacting in the same way, in ways that were taken away during the pandemic. Kids who are in high school now who never went to middle school missed out on that transition and learning how to be in a different kind of school setting. So kids have suffered quite a bit in all of this.
Lois Collins with the Deseret News really does a great job with her writing, her reporting, and her analysis of the American Family Survey, which has been a big component of the Deseret News' reporting. Comes out, I think, was it once a year, Lois, which is lofty. For the last 9 years, surveying thousands of Americans about how they're feeling. And this one caught my eye. There's a number of articles you can read at Deseret.com, but just the weight of the world right now on mom and dad's shoulders. And then you just heard Lois talk about how that is spilling over onto the kids.
Well, and missing those opportunities. I really hadn't thought about that, Lois, because we had all gone through COVID in our own way. But I was just thinking about my son, who was a senior in high school, missed his senior track season. He was one of the top runners in the state, and he never got to have that final experience, that so many years had culminated to that. And it was just, I almost dismissed it like, well, I guess we all miss things. That's something that he'll never get back.
He'll never get it back. And kids who never got to preschool or kindergarten there's so many things that they will never get back at a significant developmental age.
Lois, did you spot any kind of circle of hope in the data at all that could leave us with some? Okay, good. Talk a little bit about that.
Hope. Yeah, because this is kind of depressing what we've said so far. But so that we always see this, it's one of the most consistent things we've seen, that people think that marriages in general are maybe in trouble, or that families in general are maybe in trouble. And depending on where you are, age-wise or politically, you might have different ideas of what is trouble. But people really like their own families, and they really like their own marriages, and they're very similar. You can take ages or party lines or whatever you want, and people are really living very similar and pretty satisfied lives. And that's great cause for hope. And people seem to be showing some good concern about each other, which is also great cause for hope.
For sure, because I feel sometimes like we're all out to get each other, especially on I-15 on the way in, way into work. I'm like, I think they're all out to get me, and they probably think I'm out to get them. That is hopeful. Lois, as always, thank you so much for joining us and helping us understand what this American Family Survey is showing.
I love how she described that. She said across party lines, across races, genders, ethnicities, all these things, we like our families. We like our friends. We like the people we surround ourselves with. There is more hope when we sometimes get caught up in the narrative that, we're all battling at all times. Well, I have friends I love.
Well, what I'm hearing from that is so important, to have this nucleus of people surrounding you that you like, that you trust, that you have fun with, because that helps so much when outside pressures start to weigh. Because when you're in it together, like in it to win it, you feel like you can take on the world as long as you have that, first of all, that soft place to land, when you go home at night, but also that partnership to get through it. Glad to hear that there's that hope, that people feel connected to their families.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and you've heard me talk about my friends at NPS. They've been serving customers in Salt Lake City and the surrounding areas since 1968. A lot of people are asking me, and I was curious too, why are the NPS prices so very low? Well, the business started with a simple concept of assisting other businesses with their overstock, refused and unclaimed and even damaged merchandise, and it grew from there to where it is today, being able to offer every customer the same incredible pricing, 30 to 70% off on any given day. And then the additional specials, it is remarkable. NPS has 4 retail outlets, plus an online store and auctions each week with items from everyday necessities to unique products. Everything from groceries, produce, frozen, deli, clothes, clothing, accessories, home decor, electronics, hardware and tools, arts and crafts, health and beauty. It goes on and on. Orem, Salt Lake, Layton, you're going to love NPS.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit. And make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Imagine how inconvenient your life would be without power. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, and no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have the power when you need it most. Generac generators automatically provide backup after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Schedule a free quote today with Genco Generators, your premier Generac service dealer in Utah. Call 801-295-0872 or online at gencogenerators.net.
Oh, I think we're lost again.
Wait, what does that sign over there say?
Caution wildlife crossing?
No, next to it.
If you're 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. Ouch, I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Located in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, Kimpton Hotel Monaco offers guests a unique boutique experience with outstanding amenities and unmatched hospitality. To share more about the hotel's latest transformation is General Manager Nathan Sporbert.
Following the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen Utah's tourism industry not only recover, but start to boom. Salt Lake City specifically has seen an increase in visitors. Originally opened in 1999, the Kimpton Hotel Monaco Salt Lake City was overdue for some cosmetic and structural changes to match this upbeat direction. Earlier this year, we embarked on a 4-month-long renovation that would pair our bespoke hospitality with a clean and modern aesthetic. Every facet of this hotel was reimagined, from the guest rooms and public spaces to the beloved Bombar restaurant and new cocktail-forward bar, The Vault. We're now fully reopened, and our hope is that we can provide a major positive impact on this community. We've launched a few new packages that target folks to get reacquainted, whether they're staying with us or just stopping by for some dinner and drinks. For all updates, photos, and programming, check out our Instagram at Monaco SLC.
The newly transformed Kimpton Hotel Monaco will still your heart and delight your soul. They have it all. For more information, visit the Kimpton Hotel Monaco Salt Lake City website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, former BYU football coach Bronco Mendenhall has a new job. He'll be coaching the New Mexico Lobos. Second, the lineup for the Sundance Film Festival includes movies by Kristen Stewart and Pedro Pascal. And third, former President Trump back in court in New York today, testifying in his civil fraud trial. 46 degrees, partly cloudy right now in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national stories.
It is the News Nation hosted the final debate of this year in the Republican primary, and there were 4. There were 4 on stage, and the one who was missing on stage, of course, is on trial right now. President Donald Trump, former President Trump, he's also running, and he is the front runner. And I think the finest moment last night came when former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie stood up against Vivek Ramaswamy, the businessman who's constantly picking on Nikki Haley for her service at the United Nations.
We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence. She doesn't know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-old could find. Look.
It surprises me that you like that. I actually didn't. I looked at it and I thought, dude, she doesn't need you sticking up for her. Every time someone digs Nikki Haley, she comes back with a sledgehammer and smashes them in the face. She's like, oh, she's Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels. And she's like, 3-inch heels? First of all, they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless I can run in them. I'm like, that's the best. I've loved her comebacks.
KSL at Night host, director of the Walker Institute of Politics at Weber State University, Leah Murray. I thought that Nikki Haley was kind of a little bit, quieter last night toward Vivek than she was in the past. But she's also gaining ground in the polls, so maybe she didn't want to make a mistake last night.
Right. So the issue she has now is she's the rising star, right? And Charles Koch money is now behind her, and she's got Americans for Prosperity, that PAC, behind her. She can't say anything Does that make sense? That's going to, like, in any way disrupt that momentum.
But Chris Christie can.
Because Chris Christie's not going to win, right? So when you know you're never going to win, you can be the bomb thrower because nobody is paying attention to you and you kind of don't matter.
And he doesn't want Vivek to start rising in the polls, so he's going to shout him down.
Yeah, and a little bit I think Chris Christie wants to be shouting at Donald Trump, right? So his story was Trump would have been at these debates. There would have been some kind of epic cage battle, right, between the two of them. And because we don't get Trump on the stage, Vivek Ramaswamy's been stepping up as like Trump light, and that's what Chris Christie wants to bounce off of.
What has shocked me about this entire process, and we're 4 debates in, is how little any of the candidates have gone after Donald Trump. It's like they don't understand how primaries work. It doesn't matter if you win the debate. It doesn't matter how well you're polling if you're 30 to 50 points behind Donald Trump. And I don't understand on any level how these individuals think they have a legitimate shot to win the nomination if they can't bring Trump down because he's just so far ahead of everybody else.
Right, but think about who Trump is, right? And the Republican delegate heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, people love him. So what you have to do is, right, say, I'm a better choice than he is without ever saying anything too mean about him. Because if I'm someone who loves Trump and maybe Trump goes to jail, right, you were like, there's a lot of trials happening, and now I'm looking for my other alternative, I'm not going to pick someone who said something horrible about my first choice. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? So they're like trying to manage, I can't attack him because I want to be the best second choice for someone who might have been picking him. But you're not wrong. Like, it's hard. How do you bring him down unless you actually confront him?
I feel like Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, did a good job in this moment, very carefully mentioning Trump, but also sidestepping the idea of attacking him when he talked about the wall on the border.
We need to build a wall across the southern border. I'll get it done, and Mexico is supposed to pay for it. Remember, here's how you do that.
So there's that little...
I'm going to have fees on remittances from foreign workers when they send the money back to foreign countries.
A little dig at former President Trump for not getting Mexico to pay for the wall, but then he moves on to talk about, here's what I will do.
Right. And it's got to be like side-eye, doesn't it? So you cannot confront Donald Trump head on. Unless you're Chris Christie, right? Like, because you really are like, that's not my group. I'm not looking for those delegates, but I can like throw some shade, but it happens real, like off.
He's got to be careful.
Yes, right.
It's so careful. It's not touching. It's not getting within a zip code of Donald Trump right now. Yeah. And I just don't understand it. I think this is amazing. You're going to come in and earn a good, solid silver medal, Nikki Haley.
Right. And then the question, I guess, is, are they running for vice presidential choice, right? So maybe they're hoping if they don't say anything too awful and Trump's not in jail before the delegates start, choosing, and then maybe he's in jail, I don't know, before, right? Like they become president, they're the vice president, maybe. I agree with you, Dave. I feel like if I were trying to beat someone, I would be taking them head on. But I think it's complicated, and I think the side eye is the most they're able to do. Because if you're Chris Christie, you're never going to win. And watching that shows you're never going to win, right? So maybe you draw a lesson from that and just don't attack him.
We're analyzing the final debate, at least of 2023, for the Republican primary nomination in 2024. It aired last night on News Nation. There were 4 of the candidates on stage. Former President Trump, again, not there. He's been noticeably absent from all of the debates so far this year. But it was DeSantis, Ramaswamy, it was Haley, and it was Chris Christie. Christie, I guess I just call him by his last name. Leah, does Nikki Haley have a chance here? She has been enjoying an uptick in the polls, but we're getting awfully close to Iowa.
She has a major chance, and the reason why she has a major chance is she's got Koch money and Koch's volunteer army behind her. So Iowa is a bunch of counties. You've got to go get those delegates. It looks like our caucus system here, right? Except, so you've got to be on the ground with the machine. Do you know what I mean? Getting delegates in every single county in that state. Convincing them to choose you. And she now has the machine apparatus to do that. So I think she's got, does that make sense? The polling is just, what are you thinking about people? But when you've got volunteers who are activated and mobilized inside of counties in Iowa having conversations with delegates, we are often surprised. You know what I mean? Like, who comes out of Iowa? You're like, oh, that's
We've
a name I
talked
didn't
about
hear
that earlier in the
Right.
show. Like, the polls can say what the polls can say, but we've walked in the newsroom the next day after quite a few elections and been like, what? The polls weren't even close.
Yeah, it's the only one that matters. The question I have for you, Lee, is how in the world are there still 4 candidates aside from Donald Trump? Like, the only way forward that I can see is unifying around a singular person. Now, if that's Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or whoever it might be, when you split apart 10% here for Nikki Haley and 12% for Ron DeSantis and 6% for Ramaswamy, like, there's no way they have a chance at competing against Trump.
Right. So the answer is they all have egos. Right? Right? They all think they should be the president. So they just keep running.
Leah, thank you so much for you're hosting Inside Sources this afternoon from 1 to 3. Boyd Matheson, any sort of a sneak peek of what you got coming up?
I think we'll be talking about this just like you have been, and we'll dive into it a little bit.
Well, you always have great takes. A lot of times there are fresh takes from what Dave and I share in the morning from 9 to noon. So I look forward to listening to you on my drive home this afternoon. Leah Murray in today from 1 to 3 for Boyd Matheson, as usual, hosting here at Broadcast House, because you often host at KSL at night. Straight ahead, Maria is up next. Top story, or one of her top stories, is there's been a record number of pharmaceutical drug shortages causing problems all over the United States. Yep, I experienced that not too long ago with some eye drops that I use for my glaucoma. So I'm curious about what Maria's reporting next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour. A record number of drug shortages are causing problems all over the U.S. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Experts say the shortages are forcing impossible choices for healthcare providers. In a hearing with the U.S. Senate Committee on Finance, several senators said that they've also heard from affected patients. Shortages increased 30% just last year. Most of the 200 ongoing shortages are generic versions of drugs that have been out for decades. And generics are the more popular choice. They make up 9 out of 10 prescriptions filled. The shortages are not just affecting patients. The healthcare system is losing billions of dollars in increased labor and substitute medications. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories, a new effort by the Biden administration to lower the cost of prescription drugs. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has details.
The White House announced a new push to try and bring down the costs of prescription drugs. They're warning pharmaceutical companies that develop drugs with taxpayer funding that they need to sell those drugs at reasonable prices or risk losing their patents to other companies who could make their own versions of the drugs at an affordable price. The administration is able to do this under what's known as march-in rights, something that hasn't been exercised before and would almost certainly face legal challenges. It will be months before this proposed rule can even go into effect if action is taken. The White House has not named any of the drug companies that could be potential targets. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Other national stories we are following this hour. A judge in Austin has struck down a potentially devastating blow to a statute that essentially prohibits abortions in Texas. ABC's Jim Ryan has more.
Kate Cox of Dallas is 20 weeks pregnant with a fetus her doctors have determined will either be stillborn or will die soon after birth. Texas law does allow for abortions if the mother's life is at risk, and Cox's attorneys argued that she fit the criteria. District Court Judge Maya Guerra-Gamble.
I am going to grant the temporary restraining order for Ms. Cox.
The Texas Attorney General's office has not said yet whether it will appeal the ruling. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Aid to Ukraine is at an impasse. A vote failed yesterday in the Senate to pass a bill that includes military funding for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois says the Ukrainians need U.S. support to fend off Russia's invasion.
People are dying, fighting and dying in Ukraine for their freedom. We've stood behind them every step of the way. And to allow Congress to step away from this obligation, I think, is disgraceful.
Republicans blocked the measure because it doesn't include their demands for Trump-era restrictions on asylum and immigration. A law passed here in Utah to restrict transgender girls from playing high school sports will be back in court today. At the last hearing, the judge asked to see medical records before moving forward. The lawsuit against the Utah High School Activities Association is being brought by the ACLU, who represents 2 transgender students who want to play for their school's swim and volleyball teams. More wildlife underpasses will be built in Utah. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has details.
Wildlife underpasses and crossings are working well here in Utah. UDOT says they have about a 90% success rate of getting animals to use them based on their camera footage. Now, thanks to some federal funding, a new one will be added to an area known for tourism and lots of wildlife. UDOT Natural Resources Manager Matt Howard spoke to David Dujanovic and says along with the new underpass, they'll be doing some work on existing structures as well.
Culverts that will retrofit to be more appropriate for wildlife.
The project is still in the planning stages and it will be a couple of years before it's complete. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
A nonprofit organization of atheists and agnostics is calling on the city of Orem to repeal its decision to adopt "In God We Trust" as the city's official motto. The organization is called the Freedom from Religion Foundation. The group's attorney, Chris Line, says the motto is inappropriate for the city to adopt on government-owned property. Orem City Mayor David Young says the motto is part of an effort to unite what he calls the city's collective faith. Former BYU and University of Virginia football coach Bronco Mendenhall is back out of retirement to lead the New Mexico Lobos. This is not out of the blue, and Mendenhall told ESPN a year ago that his 2-year break in Montana wasn't permanent.
It's like a third quarter TV timeout back to back. Like that's kind of where I see where I am, right? It's not a single timeout. I mean, it's a great sponsor, so it's a long timeout. But then there's another one right after that.
He's stepping in after former New Mexico coach Danny Gonzalez got the boot for his 4-8 record at the school. Mendenhall has cred for leading BYU football for 11 seasons and notched 135 wins and 81 losses over his career with both the Cougars and the Virginia Cavaliers. First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
Valley Freeway traffic looking good, but crews still working to clear a crash downtown, 800 South, 500 East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Reliability, steadiness, trusted voices.
I'll listen to KSL in the morning, and if I happen to be in my car and I'll notice it's close to top of the hour, then I'll go there to hear the news.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
They say good things come to those who wait, but we both know the truth. If you want the good things in life, you've got to go out and get them. So if you've been dreaming of a Cadillac, don't wait. Head to Jerry Seiner Cadillac and get one for yourself. With their award-winning XT4, 5, and 6 models available on-site and the area's top selection of certified pre-owned Cadillacs, there's no need to wait to drive in luxury. Stop dreaming, start driving. Visit Jerry Seiner and experience the Seiner difference.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? And it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Don't lose $111,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits on Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL. News Radio 1027.
Okay, I want you to go along with me here. I want you to imagine a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse steak sitting on a plate in front of you, that 500-degree plate. It is sizzling hot. It is cooked to perfection. I always go for medium, and it comes out just right. And then I want you to imagine that first bite that awaits you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. There is nothing like it. That first bite is so incredible. And then all the side dishes and the desserts. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is the place this holiday season for you to take the family, take friends, take your company party. Make your reservations now because you're going to love the experience. And even though they're a steakhouse, they have other great entrees as well. 2 locations, Hotel Park City and right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. With all the great things going on, the place to dine is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Mr. Mac's Buy One, Get One sale. Buy one suit for $299. Get the second for $100. Any style, any occasion. Free alterations in 9 locations. Mr. Mac.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top local story. A 30% increase in drug shortages is causing problems all over the U.S., and experts say it is forcing some impossible decisions for healthcare providers. KSL News Time 12:08. The NAACP and other groups are demanding the White House immediately follow through with a proposed methanol cigarette ban, but some prominent tobacco companies insist a ban won't work. ABC's Justin Finch has more.
According to a senior Biden administration official, the White House is planning to delay its menthol cigarette ban until next year, following an aggressive lobbying push from critics saying the ban would unfairly target black smokers. But several health advocates, civil rights groups, and faith leaders are pushing back, saying the tobacco industry has targeted black and other marginalized communities for decades, including children. The American Lung Association estimating an average of 45,000 black Americans die each year from smoking-related diseases. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
It was 82 years ago when the Japanese launched an attack on Pearl Harbor, and instead of getting the news on social media, which didn't exist, America received word about the attacks on the radio.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
Today, we remember those lost in the Pearl Harbor attacks and recognize the universal language of radio news. Hunter High School in West Valley City hosts an annual play performed by special education students with the help of other students. Jessica Coffey is a special ed teacher, and she says these shows have helped the different kids become friends.
We've got a big group of theater kids that hang out together, and when our kids walk up to them and say hi, they're just so inviting, and our kids become part of that circle.
They'll be performing Finding Nemo Jr. tonight and tomorrow night at 7:30. If you're looking to share some holiday spirit this season, there's a young boy from Ohio who would love to get a Christmas or birthday card from you. Andrew Miller is an 8-year-old with cancer. One of the things he loves best in life is receiving handwritten cards. Now, there are just a few days until his 9th birthday on December 12th, and his mom is asking people from all around the country to help him reach a goal of receiving 2,000 cards. If you want to send Andrew a card, you can find his home address on KSL News Radio's website. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's Due Dividend Plus checking account. And let's check in now with Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet out on the Valley freeways. Good speeds, no problems, and that includes I-15 in both directions between Ogden and Provo. For those who are traveling any of the main secondaries, I don't have any problems reported. But on some of the side streets, it has been a little busy, like 3300 south going westbound between State Street and 7th West. And we also have the final cleanup of an earlier crash with possible injuries, 800 south at 500 east. Gillette Heating and Air is offering furnace maintenance for 30% off. Call 385-GET-HEAT today to take advantage of this limited time offer. Carrier, turn to the experts. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, a very weak brush-by system could bring a couple of showers in the AM, but by this afternoon, partly cloudy skies and dry, high of 47. Overnight lows will drop off into the low 30s with snow showers increasing. Tomorrow, AM snow showers then becoming a lot more isolated by Friday afternoon, high of only 37. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Dark clouds, 46 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, Representative Angela Romero has just been appointed president of the National Hispanic Caucus of State Legislators. We'll talk to her live on the KSL In-Depth on KSL, streaming at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You can't expect a policeman to unclog your drain. You shouldn't ask a teacher to change your oil. And you wouldn't want a fireman to clean your teeth. So why would we let politicians take over our internet service? That's just not what they do. Experience proves government-run networks mean waste, corruption, and failure. One example, called Utopia, promised to provide internet service in 16 cities within a few years. But over 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars later, a better name would be dystopia. They say it's almost complete. We say, stop wasting our money. Go to nogovinternet.com and tell lawmakers enough is enough. Local tax dollars are precious, and public employees have plenty to do already. Don't let politicians mess with our internet. Paid for by nogovinternet.com, a project of Domestic Policy Caucus.
At Common Spirit Holy Cross Hospitals, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and to extend the legacy of care in our communities. We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
With our roots in northern Utah, Common Spirit Holy Cross Hospitals have a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com. Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts at gopavutah.com.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
lawmakers are taking a look at drug shortages across the U.S. Experts are calling it a record number of shortages. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, we are getting a reaction from Utahns with a tie to Vegas after a mass shooting that killed 3 people rocked the campus. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Salt Lake City PD also working on a couple of other crashes that are in the clearing stages, 20th South, 9th West, and then one at 2100 South and 700 West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
After some AM showers, we're partly cloudy with a high of 47. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 46 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. New details about the gunman police say is responsible for yesterday's deadly shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. 3 people died before police say they shot and killed the gunman.
Investigators, sources say, have now determined the victims killed were not students. They were faculty and staff. That suggests to detectives the rampage may not have been random. Our sources say 67-year-old Anthony Polito had a single handgun in the shooting and that he had applied to be a professor at UNLV but was not hired. Investigators have been searching his nearby apartment and are looking through his cell phone to better understand the motive. Alex Stone, ABC News.
House Republicans say they have a draft impeachment inquiry resolution ready for a vote next week. That measure would continue the inquiry on whether President Biden profited from his family's overseas business dealings. Former President Trump is in New York City today for his civil fraud trial involving his family business. Trump and his eldest sons are accused of inflating property values to obtain favorable loans. The GOP presidential candidate is expected to testify Monday. Outside the courtroom today, Trump is also under a court order on what he can say about the case. ABC's Aaron Katursky is in Lower Manhattan.
What he needs to be careful about is how he talks about the court staff, particularly the judge's law clerk, who is seated next to him on the bench. He's often seen conferring with her about legal matters, and Trump has disparaged her on social media. That's what led to the gag order in the first place. It was temporarily halted. It's been reinstated, so he needs to watch what he says about her and about other members of the court staff.
Israeli forces making a push into southern Gaza this week, targeting Hamas leaders. There are reports of intense fighting, and hospitals report an increase in wounded civilians. The latest battles mark 2 months since the Hamas attacks and the start of Hanukkah for Jews around the world. You're listening to ABC News.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's TOW CARS. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
KSL News Time, 12:19. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Things still looking good out there, Ricky?
On the freeways, but emergency crews have responded to a new crash in Weber County. It's Riverdale Road at Chimes View Drive. This is not far from the Wall Avenue 40th Street area in Riverdale. And this crash is in the intersection and blocking multiple lanes of traffic. But again, if you are on the Valley freeways, you're good to go. It's the sale to look forward to. Foothill Rug Gallery's semi-annual sale with the biggest savings, up to 70% off gorgeous designs and styles. Foothill Rug Gallery, 1460 South Foothill Drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Partly cloudy for most of today, 47 the high. 37 tomorrow with snow showers. We'll go partly cloudy skies on your Saturday, 35. 39 mostly cloudy skies on your Sunday. Moves back to 41, partly cloudy on Monday. Working through the middle of next week, how about upper 30s, partly cloudy, maybe even a little bit of valley haze. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We have some dark clouds in downtown Salt Lake City. It looks like rain. Mostly cloudy, 45 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Taking a quick check of the markets here. The Dow and the NASDAQ both up by triple digits. Some great numbers. We'll get a complete update of your money news coming up next.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a STIHL. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the STIHL Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $30 on the BG56 CE handheld blower. Visit your local STIHL dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Real STIHL. Find yours. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Gah, I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma, smart communications for the smarter business.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas.
In the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time, 1224. Move over written letters mailed to Santa Claus. PowerPoint presentations are the new Christmas list. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington has more.
Kids are using their tech-savvy ways to avoid unwanted gifts this Christmas by giving their parents very specific requirements through PowerPoint presentations. There's a mixed reaction to this trend. Some parents see this as a way for kids to polish up on their presentation skills. It also makes shopping easier for parents. Some kids are putting direct links of what they want into their slide decks. But others think it shows a bit of entitlement. The Wall Street Journal reported that one New York teenager's PowerPoint was a whole 29 slides. Efficiency or entitlement, that's the question. But kids have been writing their wishes down every Christmas for years and years. And a PDF version of a PowerPoint just might reach the North Pole faster. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 1225, watching Utah's Money. If you've ever been enjoying a soda and wishing your dog could enjoy it with you, well, your wish could now come true. Jones Soda Company is now launching a soda for dogs. The drink is uniquely created for dogs and will even have dog health benefits. Some of the flavors will include beef stock and turkey and gravy. Tooele County is now home to 2 new inland port projects. The Utah Inland Port Authority Board approved the Tooele Valley and 20 Wells port projects this week. They say these ports will bring jobs to the county. Opponents worry that the project could be bad for Utah's already poor air quality. Last year, many Americans who retired early during the pandemic were thinking about returning to the workforce. Now, that isn't really the case. A survey done by Morning Consult says 60% of retirees say they won't return to work under any circumstances. Last year, 48% said they wouldn't return to work. Now, taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 82 points. It's sitting at 36,136. S&P 500, it's up by 38, and the NASDAQ is up by 198 points. The 2024 Sundance Film Festival lineup has been announced, and some big names are headed to Utah. Movies starring Kristen Stewart, Little Women's Sherry Ronan, Pedro Pascal will premiere at the festival. Now, 2024 marks Sundance's 40th year. It'll start on January 18th.
The biggest financial decision you'll ever make.
I've always felt like my kids will own a home.
And it's trickier than ever.
Insurance, PMI, don't even get me started on home repairs.
If you're buying or selling a home, Dave and Debbie have you covered. The 2024 housing market. Each morning this week at 10:20 on KSL News Radio.
At Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital, we made a bold promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Join us in realizing our vision for the future of pediatric care. So together, we can expand primary children's impact and ensure every child has access to the right care at the right place at the right time. For a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Help us continue to do so for the next 100 years. To get involved, visit primarypromise.org.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Get your home's electrical system running in peak condition by scheduling a $79 whole home electric inspection with the professionals at Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric today. The electrical experts at Yes are ready to help identify unsafe conditions and possibly prevent expensive repairs in the future. Proudly serving Utah for more than 45 years. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. Don't miss Cold's new Season 3, where I look into the unsolved disappearance of Cherie Warren, a woman last seen leaving her job at a Salt Lake City office in 1985. Police cast suspicion on Cherie's estranged husband and boyfriend, but never made any arrests or recovered Cherie's remains. Find Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, anywhere you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time 1229, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Right now, I'm looking at a live shot of, brace yourself, Maria, snow. We have some clouds and some sun in the valley. The higher elevations in Big Cottonwood Canyon, that snow is coming down and covering the roads. And with it coming down, it is starting to stick. If you're going to be traveling to and from Solitude and Brighton, you may want to consider making sure you have traction devices in place. Now, here in the valley, roads are clear, looking good, and freeway speeds are in great shape right now. No accidents or delays. But we do have that crash in Weber County, Riverdale Road at Chimes View Drive. This is near Wall Avenue, 40th Street. If you're familiar with that area, just watch for emergency crews at that intersection. Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Following some light AM shower chances, we'll go to partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of 47. We drop off to 30 overnight with snow showers increasing. Tomorrow, how about some AM snow showers, then becoming a lot more isolated, 37 by afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Dark clouds in downtown Salt Lake City, 45 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. The nation is still reeling from the mass shooting yesterday at UNLV, but one Utah student at UNLV says Vegas is resilient and people are working to take care of each other. KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe is live with that story. Amy?
Maria, Harrison Epstein wasn't on campus yesterday, but when he got the alert from University Police about an active shooter, the first thing he did was check on his friends.
I texted every classmate group chat, every person I could think of. Are you on campus? Oh, where are you? Thankfully, a lot weren't, but I did have a few friends in the student union.
Epstein says he's now working to rationalize and understand what happened. And he says the connection with his friends in Utah is helping.
Every little bit of thought, every bit of prayer from a person in Utah makes a difference here. When terrible things like this happen, everybody kind of has to step up a little bit emotionally and care for each other. And this is an opportunity to care for each other.
Reporting live, Amy Kobabe, KSL News Radio.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas joined David Dujanovic earlier today about what's coming up next for the investigation into the shooting.
The public and the school want there to be some retribution for this. And of course, immediately that goes to the shooter. But in this case, the shooter's dead. And so there's no sort of sense of satisfaction.
Skordas says the investigation will now most likely look at how the shooter obtained the firearm and whether or not he had posted anything on social media or spoken to people about his intentions. KSL's top national stories. The U.S. charging 2 Russian intelligence officers in a global hacking campaign. ABC's Dave Packer reports.
In charges announced Thursday, the Justice Department alleges Ruslan Alexandrovich Peredyeko and Andrei Stanislavovich Korents led the so-called Callisto Group, engaging in spearphishing campaigns between 2016 and 2022 that targeted current and former employees of the U.S. intelligence community, Defense Department, State Department, defense contractors, and Energy Department facilities. The group is alleged to have used deceptive emails to gain access to victims' computers. They're also accused of targeting UK officials and journalists in order to influence the country's 2019 elections. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Senator Mike Lee is introducing a bill to cut American funding to the United Nations. Lee's bill would repeal laws that bind the U.S. to the UN, like the United Nations Participation Act of 1945. It would also end financial support to the UN, prohibit U.S. involvement in peacekeeping operations, and withdraw the U.S. from the World Health Organization. The House is expected to vote next week to formalize the impeachment inquiry into President Biden that began in September. Republicans are looking for evidence that Biden played a role in his son's business. Now, the president has repeatedly insisted that he did not. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
Republicans argue formal authorization of the impeachment inquiry is necessary to confront what they describe as stonewalling by the White House. Among other things, they're seeking emails sent to and from accounts that Joe Biden was said to have used while he was vice president. Texas Republican Dan Crenshaw says the impeachment inquiry has dug up plenty thus far.
You'd be absolutely out of your mind to think there's nothing there.
New York Democrat Dan Goldman says the GOP is merely coming up with excuses to continue a fishing expedition.
The evidence does not show what they wanted to show.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Lori Vallow-Daybell pleaded not guilty to charges of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in an Arizona court today. Legal analyst Barry Markson says although the so-called doomsday mom has already received a life sentence for the deaths of her 2 children in Idaho, the Arizona trial is just as important.
So the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, led by Rachel Mitchell, has determined that it's important to ensure that justice prevails in Arizona as well, and that the victims in Arizona are given that justice.
Vallow-Daybell is charged in relation to the death of her 4th husband and the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband. 26-year-old Isaac Ochoa has been arrested early this morning for stealing a van in southern Provo. A pursuit ensued with Provo police, who were able to establish a perimeter at a rail yard where he fled from the van but was later found hiding under a train carriage. Ochoa was booked into the Utah County Jail on charges including DUI, vehicle theft, and reckless driving. West Valley police say a man who had several arrest warrants tried to run away and carjack a vehicle at a fast food drive-through when he was stopped for jaywalking. KSL.com reports Jose Silvestre Vargas has warrants going back to January of 2022 for burglary, theft, and drug-related crimes. Police say he tried to pull the driver of a Jeep out of his vehicle after he ran away from police. He's now facing several additional charges. First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
We have snow in the higher elevations, particularly Big Cottonwood Canyon, and it is definitely sticking to the roadway there. Plus, the clearing of an accident in the Riverdale area of Weber County, Riverdale Road at Chimes View Drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Join us on the community's #1 resource for news and fair, enlightening talk.
Listening to Dave and Debbie talk about the Israeli conflict was not one-sided. I really appreciate that.
Listen between 9 and noon each weekday
on KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Celeste Edmonds, Executive Director of the Christmas Box House. When I was a foster child, Christmas felt like something that was for everyone but me. Christmas should be for all children. The Christmas Box is working with the Utah community to provide Christmas for nearly 2,800 at-risk children. To learn how you can help today, please contact us at thechristmasbox.org or Google us. Thank you and happy holidays.
This is Richard Paul Evans. I'm excited to announce a new book I co-wrote with Celeste Edmonds, director of the Christmas Box International. It's called Garbage Bag Girl. Years ago, I wrote a best-selling book called Finding Noelle based on Celeste's life. I always wanted to write her full story. Now I have. Warning, there are graphic parts. Her life was difficult, but ultimately, this book is about hope. I love this book. You can buy Garbage Bag Girl on Amazon. Garbage Bag Girl, now on sale.
Have you ever heard that adage that losing weight takes a long time? That's not necessarily true. 2 years ago, I started my SOTA weight loss journey. I noticed results within the first week. And the second week, I had lost even more weight. 3 quick months later, and I was down 34 pounds and hit my weight loss goal. My story is not unique for Soda Weight Loss. Let's hear from Aaron.
Come in and try it, and if it's not working for you, I'd be shocked. The motivation really comes after the first week and you see the first set of numbers dropping off. It's a great way to get things going, to start turning things in the right direction again.
The average weight loss for a male is 3 to 5 pounds per week, and the average female will lose 2 to 3 pounds per week. How much weight can you lose? Call Soda Weight Loss or visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA, stands for state of the art. And find out how quickly you can reach your ideal weight with Soda Weight Loss. It is state of the art. Call Soda Weight Loss today and see what you can accomplish with your nutritionist. Or visit sodaweightloss.com. That's Soda, SOTA. It's state of the art.
Positive mortgage news? Interest rates have dropped and trending down from 2023 yearly highs. Click loansbyrick.com. Purchase or cashback loans. Visit loansbyrick.com.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News. Recapping our top story, we heard from a Utahn who has ties to Vegas in the wake of the UNLV shooting. And the person says that Vegas is resilient and people are working to take care of each other. KSL News Time, 12:38. Predictions of mortgage rate drops next year are exciting for hopeful home buyers, but senior economist for Zions Bank, Robert Spendlove, doesn't think that they will be big drops because that would be bad for the economy.
If those rates get too low and the housing market starts to overheat again, then it's going to drive overall inflation. And so the Fed wants to prevent that from happening.
Spendlove says you should proceed with caution if you're basing financial decisions on the predictions. Right now, it's very hard to know what the rates will do. Former President Trump will be back inside a New York courtroom today to watch his legal team present their defense at the civil fraud trial against his business empire. Mr. Trump is accused, alongside some of his adult children, of inflating the values of assets and properties in an effort to get favorable terms for loans. But the defense has called up a witness today that says those numbers were estimates and aren't considered fraudulent behavior. More now from ABC's Aaron Katursky.
The defense is really relying on expert testimony to make a couple of points, that any overvaluations of his properties were offset by undervaluations, that the banks and the insurance companies that gave the former president favorable terms didn't really care what the values were on his statements of financial condition. And we just heard this latest expert say that statements of financial condition are only the first step in a process.
Republican Utah Congressman Blake Moore says his party needs to stop quibbling and put out a budget because funding for national security sites like Hill Air Force Base are up in the air right now. Here's a budget committee meeting last month.
We haven't had a chance to vote on it yet. The members on the lower part of the dais, we all want to fix this. We all want to be a part of the solution here, right? We need a catalyst to get it so it comes to the floor.
Moore tells the Deseret News it will take Republicans sending something to the Senate ASAP, but he adds he's hopeful the country will have a budget in time for the next deadline. Now, that happens next month. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
Looks like crews have been able to wrap up the accident that we had Riverdale Road at Chimes View Drive, not far from Wall Avenue, 40th Street. You're able to get through that intersection again. Valley Freeway traffic remains in really good shape. Snow in the higher elevations of Big Cottonwood Canyon, and it is sticking to the road. Be aware of winter driving conditions if you're headed up to the slopes. Western Nut Company holiday gift centers are located in Layton Hills, Newgate, and Ogden. The shops at Southtown in Sandy, Fashion Place Mall in Murray, and University Place in Orem. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Just a little clipper system in the AM could bring a couple of showers, predominantly towards the Idaho border. By this afternoon, dry, 47, partly cloudy. Overnight lows dropping off near 30 degrees, increasing clouds, and snow showers. Tomorrow, AM snow showers, 37 by afternoon. It really starts to break up, but the snow showers hold on in the mountains. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 45 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Utah's Noon News, Utah is growing by huge numbers. We'll listen to where that population growth is occurring in the KSL In-Depth on KSL, streaming online at kslnewsradio.com and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Imagine how inconvenient your life would be without power. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, and no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have the power when you need it most. Generac generators automatically provide backup after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Schedule a free quote today with Genco Generators, your premier Generac service dealer in Utah. Call 801-295-0872 or online at gencogenerators.net.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Immerse yourself in premium nationwide coverage, contract-free plans, and always-free activation with Consumer Cellular, now at your local Target. While you're there, check out our newest phone, the Iris Flip. It's all the phone and camera you need, plus it features a user-friendly design, making it the perfect flip phone. From now to December 16th, you can score $10 off when you buy the Consumer Cellular Iris Flip at Target, making it only $39.99. Visit your nearest Target for the full scoop.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time 1245, the three things you need to know this hour. First,
one Utahn attending UNLV says the university community is pulling together and helping one another after the shooting on campus yesterday, but they're also still struggling to understand and cope emotionally. I'm KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe.
Second, Senator Mike Lee is introducing a bill to cut American funding to the United Nations. Third, traffic and weather together with Ricky Meese.
Dry roads in the valley and a good drive in progress. Higher elevations, we are seeing snowfall in Big Cottonwood Canyon in the upper part of the canyon, and it is sticking to the roadway. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
40s today turn to 30s tomorrow with snow showers. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 45 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Fierce fighting in southern Gaza is leading to more civilian casualties. The White House says President Biden spoke to Israel's prime minister today, both leaders facing renewed pressure for a ceasefire. ABC's Inez de la Quatara is in Israel.
The humanitarian situation in Gaza as dire as ever, possibly more dire than it's been. We understand that at least 350 people were killed in just the last 24 hours, and Doctors Without Borders saying that there are now more people who've been killed who are being brought to the hospital than people who've been injured, and that is a first in this war.
Police say the gunman in yesterday's shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus was 67-year-old Anthony Polito. Police say he was disgruntled after being turned down for a job. 82 years ago today in Hawaii, Japanese fighter planes attacked Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,400 military members and civilians. Ceremonies today remembering the fallen and marking the event that drew the U.S. into World War II. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. There are 56,000 new residents who have moved to Utah just this year. Senior demographer for the Kempsey Gardner Institute, Emily Harris, talked with David Dujanovic about where this population growth is happening.
Decades ago, you were seeing kind of north of Salt Lake being built out with Davis and Weber counties. And really over the last 20, 30 years, you're starting to now see more of that growth occurring south of Salt Lake County as the north end has kind of become more saturated.
What is the southern line, so to speak, in Utah County? Where has that growth kind of peaked out? How far south?
Yeah. So these estimates are at the county level. So really all we can speak to is what's going on in the county as a whole, though we do plan on releasing some small area estimates that will have city level probably in the next couple of months. So then we can have more information on which communities within Utah County are really growing a ton.
Well, before we let you go, Emily, where I love it when you look in your crystal ball, so hopefully it's working today, and I'm not catching you off guard. Is Utah County going to continue over the next several years and decades taking the brunt of the population growth? Or are we going to spread out to other communities and share the love to into Willa County, for example?
Yeah. So, I mean, Utah County for probably the last 15 years has been one of the top growing counties in the state, but it's not the only one. You mentioned Tooele County. That's also been growing a lot. And then, we also have our friends in southwestern Utah, like Washington and Iron counties, that are also growing a ton. So Utah County, I feel like at least for the next few years, probably at least to 2030, we're going to be seeing a lot of growth. But, eventually you can't just keep growing exponentially forever. So eventually it will get to a point where it can't just keep bringing in tons and tons of people every year.
Harris says population growth is a major reason for Utah to address its current housing shortage. KSL News Time, 12:49. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. And what's happening, Ricky?
Snowfall in the higher elevations of both Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. Now, that road is getting coated, and you will be in winter driving conditions. Be prepared for that if you're going to be headed up the canyons. Now, for those in the valley, you have a good drive in progress on your valley freeways and main secondaries. Cypress checking account members enjoy discounted rates on auto and RV loans, free access to their credit scores and reports, and a suite of other products and perks. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Cypress Credit Union, your future is our future. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts out with a couple of clipper storms. Today we've got partly cloudy skies, but there is a slight chance for something in the morning, 47 the high. 37 tomorrow, snow showers. Partly cloudy on your Saturday, 35. 39 mostly cloudy on Sunday. Into next week we go. Monday, 41, partly cloudy skies. We keep a mixture of sun and clouds next Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs in the upper 30s, potentially a little bit of haze. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 45 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Checking the markets at this hour, a lot of green numbers. The Dow up by nearly 100 points. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When words come out of our mouths and everything sounds fine, no one bats an eye. But if things come out a little jumbled or letters sound different than most, there's speech therapy. But did you know that speech therapy is used for more than just stuttering or disfluency? From articulation to expressive and receptive language to a simple act of swallowing that most of us take for granted, speech therapy can do amazing things for you, your health, and of course your sense of self. That's why Summit Speech Therapy is here. Summit Speech Therapy works with people of all ages, from infants and toddlers who have a difficult time feeding or eating, TBI, stroke, or coma patients, to children and adults with speech problems. So much of it is all related, and Summit Speech Therapy can help. Summit works with all insurance companies as well as private pay options, and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.
Are you one of those people?
Those people.
You know, self-driven, confident, love sales and understanding marketing. Would you like to work with a variety of businesses, large and small, helping them succeed? Do you want to actually make the kind of money you know you should make? Are you looking for a career with an opportunity to grow?
Well, we're looking for those people.
Bonneville Salt Lake Media Group is looking for account executives from a variety of backgrounds and experience levels to connect with high-potential business opportunities for digital marketing. KSL Podcasts, KSL News Radio, 103.5 The Era, FM 100.3, and 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It's advertising sales that will change your world. Not to mention the world-class list of benefits we're famous for. You'll work in person and remotely in a dynamic team culture with opportunities to reach audiences both locally and globally. If this is the kind of work that interests you, text careers to 57500. That's careers to 57500. Text careers to 57500.
Tim and Amanda.
You know, we've been doing this, 30 years, Tim? We know that the news can be heavy. We know that it can be difficult sometimes to listen to or understand. But that doesn't mean that we're supposed to live in that down place every day. We learn the news, we're educated so we can take care of our families. But then, you know what? We go out and have a good day.
Well, I think both of us come from the standpoint, and we have families. We have kids that are coming up different ages. Yours are younger than mine. Mine are grown adults. But we always try and look for the bright side, I think, because we all want to have that in our lives.
And it's there. There is a bright side.
There is a bright side out there, and so we look for those opportunities each day to hopefully send that message to you, even if it's not directly, in words, that at least in sentiment, things are going to be okay.
Do you know what I like to tell people? The news is the exception, not the rule. So if there's violence in the news, that's the exception. The rule is most of us are safe and happy and doing okay.
Amen.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:54. A South Jordan neighborhood came together for year 3 of their Charity of Light event. Residents lit candles in their driveway to signal Santa, escorted by South Jordan Fire Department to pick up their donations. Resident Amanda Hansen and her family have helped since day one.
I think it just reminds me of the good in the world and the hope when there's a lot of hard things happening for a lot of people right now. It just makes you feel really great to be a part of a community that cares and wants to give back.
All donations directly help students and families in need in the Jordan School District. Watching Utah's Money, Meta has started fully encrypting messages on Facebook by default. Privacy advocates say this is a good thing, as this encryption will shield people from seeing messages. Others warn that this could hide illegal activity by child predators and other criminals. New Jersey's unemployment rate is rising faster than any other state in the country. Many white-collar employees in the state have cut jobs over the past year, but many positions in fields like healthcare are struggling to be filled despite the high rate of unemployment. Experts say this could represent a countrywide trend of slow job growth and high unemployment numbers. A California poultry plant is being fined over $3.5 million for child labor violations. Exclusive Poultry Incorporated, a major supplier of poultry across the U.S., employed children as young as 14. The company let them work with sharp knives and dangerous power equipment. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 66 points, sitting at 36,120. S&P is up by 34. The NASDAQ up by 177 points. That's 1.25%. Networks are remembering Norman Lear, a giant in the American TV industry who died at the age of 101.
It was an unprecedented move. Every broadcast network last night jointly simulcasting a tribute to Norman Lear, who changed the face of American TV. His friend Jimmy Kimmel calling him a hero.
We were all lucky to have him. I hope we never forget him or the many lessons that he taught us.
From All in the Family to Sanford and Son and The Jeffersons, Norman Lear was behind some of the most iconic shows, credited with breaking barriers, exploring controversial social issues like race and civil rights.
That is ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
This time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it. But adding something new and positive to your life can counteract some of those feelings. Therapy can be a bright spot amid all of the stress and change. Something to look forward to make you feel grounded, and to give you the tools to manage everything going on. Learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Salt Lake today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Salt Lake, and get 10% off your first month.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to Pajamagram.com right now. That's Pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com.
Gifts they'll cherish, value, love, and pass down. They're at J. Brooks Jewelers. Online at jbrooksjewelers.com.
KSL News Time, 12:59. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Right now, we have a good drive on all the Valley freeways. I have seen a little bit of busy traffic westbound on the 21st South Freeway, especially by Redwood Road and I-215's West Belt. But where I'm seeing a possible problem, it's the higher elevations of Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. It is snow covered, and so far, no plows out to take care of that roadway. If you're headed up to the slopes, be prepared and drive cautiously in these winter driving conditions. Get your photos with Santa at Jordan Landing Shopping Center this holiday season, located in the Entertainment Plaza across from Cinemark. Check out jordanlanding.com for hours and additional details. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And we do have about a 50% chance of showers across the Wasatch Front this afternoon. That moving to an 80% chance by tomorrow. Tomorrow's high, only 37 degrees, a lot cooler. Right now, 45 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Emergency medical unit, respond to 102.
It's 1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Utah Republican Congressman Blake Moore says the thing stopping his party from getting a good budget done is that they're just quibbling. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
Moore tells the Deseret News that the Republicans in the House of Representatives are trying to make bills that appeal to every Republican, when he says it's more important to